Welcome everybody to Geeking Poetic Podcast. I'm Larry.
I'm Vito.
And this time we have a top 5 for you of our favorite time travel stories. Man, there's so many good ones. Everything from Time Machine,
Terminator,
Back to the Future, just tons of them. So we're going to talk about that. And then what else are we going to talk about, dude?
Well, we're going to talk about what you thought was your favorite time travel stories of all time.
Exactly. We're going to count them all down, go through it all. There's a lot to get through, so let's jump in the DeLorean and let's go back in time.
Got to do it.
See you there. Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Geeking Poetic Podcast. We are back, and it's not something where we're having to eat something horrible.
Thank Christ.
And we're not wearing funny costumes, or it's not
answering impossible questions.
Right. It's nothing like that. This is the old school, school way.
Revised a little.
That we used to do things. This is like the proper podcast, so to speak. But yeah, if you're watching this, if you're not just listening to this, you may notice that we've moved things around a little bit because we decided that we interact better when we're a little bit closer.
A little bit closer.
Yeah.
Get
a little closer. Don't be shy with new solid extra dry. Like deodorant.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking at you because you're weird.
Well, much like the pits, this show. Anyway, so yeah, we decided to move things around a little bit, and we're going to be a little more intimate here. I can see now all the looks that Megan's going to give me.
I'm going to have to watch those more.
Yeah, all the shitty looks she's going to give me when I say something stupid or offensive. It's like now I can see her out of the corner of my eye, which is probably a good thing.
Probably. So you shut up.
Keep me
please,
in line.
just stop.
Literally, she can kick you in line right now.
Yeah,
So.
I could.
Yeah.
So if you suddenly jump or fall backwards,
Yeesh.
I kick the shit out of you.
You've got heels on,
I do
too.
have heels on.
Oy. Yeah. Okay, I will keep that in mind.
All right, you could do that.
But anyway, I'm sure most of you that are watching or listening know this, but in case you don't, I am one of... Oh, I'm knocking my beer over. I'm drinking...
Don't do that. I got that for free.
Don't ruin that free beer.
Right?
Yeah.
Megan scored us a new mini fridge with a shitload of beer in it. So thank you.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I didn't even know it was full of beer. I just thought it was a fridge. I was pretty excited for the fridge because you're like, hold on, let me get the beer. I was like, what?
You should probably
I don't
explain.
even drink beer.
You should probably explain because people are going to be like, holy shit, Megan stole a fridge full of beer.
I didn't acquire it. I won it.
She won it in a
At
raffle.
a church raffle.
Of all things, it was a church raffle.
Catholic church raffle.
Yeah. And she won of all the things. They had all kinds of different Nintendo Switches and money. And
I know. I didn't
They
even
had
know.
money?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
I missed all those raffles. She came around and go, booze. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
The person who doesn't really drink beer at all, and she wins.
Megan
all the
doesn't like
beer.
beer. No, but she ended up winning a brand new, wasn't even used, a brand new
spanking new.
little mini fridge. It's awesome. We have it. You can't see it right now because
It's right here.
It's covered up under the sheet. But and then on top of it, it came with like, I don't know, like 30 beers or
Yeah,
something
like 3 or 4 different styles of beers.
There's
brands of
actually
beers.
like 5 or 6.
5. Oh, really?
Yeah, there's
Wow.
a ton. And some we got, it's all like 3 Floyds. If any of you out there are into beers and everything. So I've been drinking the Zombie Dust because they don't like it.
Yeah,
What are
I
you
got-
drinking?
Gross.
This is Penrose Proto
Yeah,
American
Proto.
Golden Ale. This is actually pretty good. It's like I thought this was gonna be like an IPA, like hoppy thing, but it's not. It's more like a lighter blonde beer, I guess.
I like
But It's
that.
good. It's good.
Nice. So yeah, so thank you, Megan.
You're welcome, guys.
Just adds to your awesomeness.
That's how I got over here. I
Yeah.
bribed you with beer.
That's how
That deserves a promotion.
Well,
I know what I'm doing.
no, you know what? Here's the thing. It has been you've been promoted, I suppose, because it has been 1 year since we started recording and doing this. It was
almost exactly.
It was March.
March 15th is when we started all
Was
this.
it the March 15th? Okay, so yeah. Well, by the time this comes out, that'll probably
It'll be
already be out.
Well past.
Right. So yeah, 1 year. So we made you sit at the kids' table for a
I had to
year.
grow up a little bit.
Now you can sit at the big dining room table with the adults. It's funny because I remember being a kid and being like half okay with it because I liked being with the kids, but then half kind of bummed that we'd be like, wonder what's going on in the other room with all the adults at the adult table, you know? And then when I got to be at the adult table, I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah. I'm like, oh.
All they're doing
That's all you're doing?
They're all just arguing.
You're just eating?
Yeah.
And arguing? Yeah.
And arguing over politics and like
What Aunt Sally did last weekend. or
right, exactly. Somebody would start my dad and my uncle.
Shout out to Aunt Sally, by the way. No, I don't have an Aunt Sally.
But if you do, shout out to Aunt Sally.
Yeah, she's a good one. But
She's a
my
keeper.
my dad and my uncles would start laying into my poor Aunt Jean, and my Aunt Jean would get up and storm out of the house, and my uncle, her husband, my uncle, would be sitting there just like, oh God.
Just like ripping on her or actually like being mean?
She was. You know, I grew up in a Irish Catholic all police family.
Yeah.
So there was a bunch of boys, you know, a bunch of men that were very opinionated and rough around the edges. And then my Aunt Jean was kind of a somewhat hippie, very liberal, very kind of, you know, that sort of thing. So there was clashes all the time. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I have an alarm going off. That was weird. But
It's midnight.
yeah. It was letting me know it's 2 minutes to midnight. That was Bruce Dickinson calling. But anyway, yeah, so it was, you know, yeah, there was a lot of that. But you don't have to endure that now. And now you are just with us. We promise we won't give you any grief and make you well, I'll try not to make you storm out of the building.
This is not going to go well.
Well, we'll see.
Somebody send help.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Hope he doesn't storm out because I got to give you a ride home.
Yeah.
You can keep them. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I'm like, well, Vito, leave me the house key in the morning because I'm staying over. But
long Uber ride.
Yeah. Anyway, as I was starting to say a few minutes ago, I am one of your hosts. I'm Larry Roberts. Across the table over there, the man with the plan in the studio.
His name
Would
is
be
Stan.
me, yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be Stan. Now it's Vito Marchese.
And then the one over here with all the beer, making shit clear that we live in fear of getting kicked under this here table.
In the rear.
In the rear, we have none other than
Megan Guess.
yeah.
I couldn't think of anything that rhymed with that. You took everything.
Yeah, I think I summed it up well. And then, so this episode, what are we here for? What the fuck are we here for? We are here to talk about
Time travel.
Yep.
Traveling through time.
Yeah, it's a good topic.
The travel of time.
Yeah.
Pretty excited to do this one because it's a cool. It's weird how time travel is sort of like general and vague, but then specific too. If that makes any fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, general in that our choices for our favorites span so many different genres. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not limited to sci-fi or horror or action or whatever. I mean, there's romance, there's comedies, plenty of comedy. You know what I mean?
Straight drama or
straight drama,
action.
some stuff that's almost like nonfiction, slightly, depending on what you believe in. You know, so yeah, it's really cool to do this. But at the same time, the problem is it makes making a list fucking impossible.
This is a tough one. I have like 8 honorable mentions.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we
I couldn't leave them out.
We could have literally made this a 3-parter where it's like part 1 was movies, part 2 was books, part 3 was TV shows, and and go
I
from
have
there,
a feeling
but
we're gonna revisit this at some point.
I'm sure.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we made this general where it was going to include TV, movies, books, like you said. We really could have just easily narrowed it down and said, okay, this one's just going to be movies. And I still would have a long list.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what we're doing here is in this video, if you're watching the video, we are going to talk about our top 5 favorite time travel stories. And again, it's not media specific. It can be books, comics, TV, documentaries, movies, all that stuff.
All the above. Everything.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that. We're going to debate a little bit about that. We also asked a bunch of you out there we polled you to ask you to let us know what your favorites were, and we got a ton of responses. Like
We're still getting responses.
we're still getting them. So if you're listening to this and you go, hey man, I said blah 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 and it didn't make the list, I'm sorry, but
Too slow.
yeah, but I mean, we have so many, odds are pretty good that what you picked is probably in here.
Yeah.
So
If not, it's in ours.
yeah, yeah, right.
Possibly,
Because
maybe.
there is some crossover. We have some very different lists just from what I heard you guys talking about.
Yeah, we have hardly any crossover this time.
There's a little
There's a
bit.
couple,
There's
but
a-
not many.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any with Vito. Maybe. We'll see.
Might have one. I'm sure all of
Maybe
you guys have at
one.
least one of them. Yeah. I might be wrong, but
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll find
We will find out. That's part of what we're here for.
But I want to know what they said.
Yeah, we should just jump into it right now.
Jump into
Let's
it right
go.
now.
Right. I don't
both
think
feet first.
So, I mean, I don't think we have to explain the topic. I mean, if you people don't know about time travel, I mean, everybody
Go look
knows.
it up. Come
Yeah,
back.
Exactly.
Pause. Come back.
Read a book. Go to the library. You know. But on that note, if you are the kind of person that's like, oh man, I'm bummed because I'd love to hear them talk a little bit more about like physics and science aspects of it and get into things like, you know, fourth, fifth dimension, tesseracts and all this kind of stuff. Guess what? When this video is over, there's going to be a second one that's going to be audio only. That you can listen to, but we'll have it here on YouTube as well with like a little slideshow kind of thing. Where we're going to talk not about the movies, but we're going to talk about theories and you know, possible realities, or is it a reality to
Should it be a
or
reality?
should it be? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of talk about that, you know, the whole ethics of time travel and stuff. And we're going to talk about that afterwards, but right now let's get into the viewer's choice for top time travel movies. See, like right here, if we were like a big production show, there'd be like some Doctor Who kind of like, then you just see Megan's head floating inside of like
Swirling around.
inside of like a wormhole.
This better?
Maybe Vito can like do some magic on there. I doubt it.
Okay, I can stop doing that then.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting dizzy.
You're doing it all
I
for
can't
nothing.
guarantee I can figure that out. So.
But okay, so what I did was, man, there was so many suggestions. And a lot of them were only like 1 and 2 mentions. We'll run through all of them, but what I did was I actually picked the top 7.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You have that many. Wow.
Yeah, I picked like the top 7, and then we'll kind of mention all the rest of them, but
Okay.
we'll talk a little more in depth. So the winner of the most voted, yeah, dude, little drum roll. Sounds more like a earthquake happening. Or dump truck coming
tried.
down the street. But yeah, the winner from the viewers poll, which I guess shouldn't really be a surprise because it's most people, when they think of time travel and movies and stuff, you know, at least people of our generation and younger, it's Back to the Future.
Right.
Yeah.
The Back to the Future trilogy. You know.
Has to be in a list somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You know, it's hilarious. It's, you know,
All the above. It's everything.
yeah, it appeals to a lot. And it's one of those, it's interesting that unlike most of the other ones that are in this list, Back to the Future appeals even to like generations now. There's like,
Yeah, my nephew loves Back to the Future. He dressed up as it for Halloween one
Nice.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my nephews love it too.
Yeah.
So it's,
right. So I mean,
It's a timeless movie and story, man.
it is timeless.
Yeah, for real.
But
Job well done.
it is, it's a case of one of those movies that's like perfectly cast. Just even the way they filmed it, the way it looks, it doesn't look. You can watch other movies from 1985, and you go, okay, this looks like 1985. I don't know, man. When I watch Back to the Future, especially the first one, or even all of them, they look really good.
Fuck yeah, they do.
They were well done, man.
It's Robert Zemeckis for you. Man.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing I just got to throw out there is, you know what else is fucking timeless in my book? Huey Lewis and the News.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Dude, I love Huey Lewis and the News.
Those
man.
songs,
They're great. They're
some of my
infectious.
favorite songs of all time.
They're
For
just-
real. Power of Love, dude.
They're fun. You
Back
know what I
in
mean?
time.
They're just like, yeah, it's not necessarily the kind of music you're going to sit down and like get deep about, but it's just cool, fun. Like, yeah, you hear Power of Love, you're like, all right. Especially sunny day out, you're driving in your truck, you got your best like orange puffy vest on, like Michael J. Fox and everything. But anyway, yeah, we won't talk too much more about it because I'm sure we'll get back to it. But yeah, that was the number one winner. The number two winner with the second most votes was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Those
That's a
movies
good
are
one.
great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got to note, everybody specifically said Excellent Adventure.
Not
Nobody
Bogus.
said Bogus Journey.
Mm.
So, now I guess Bogus Journey was less. Well, it does still deal with time travel and stuff, but it's the first one that really.
They're always hopping back and forth, I guess.
Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah.
Right, but the first one, when they go back and they get Abe
Socrates
Lincoln
and all that.
Socrates, Joan of Arc, and all that.
God, I haven't seen that in a while, man.
Yeah, me either.
I loved it when I was a kid, though.
I thought that movie was. I was in high school, so I kind of was a little Bill and Ted, like it was. I was never that dumb, but I hung out with a few, and I mean, it had this great late 80s metal-y soundtrack and stuff, and of course I thought all the reference gags were just so funny at the time, like, oh, they're referencing Dust in the Wind, like, whoa, bro. Like, yeah, all right, you goober, go drink another shitty beer, think that's so funny, young Larry. But anyway, it doesn't surprise me. I was a little surprised that it made it to number 2 over some of these other ones, but yeah, Bill and Ted's a good one. Number 3, and what I did was, because some people got a little specific about certain installments, but I just compiled them all into one category. Vito will be very happy with this. Number 3 most voted was the Terminator film series.
Ooh.
I would have thought that would have been number 2 or number 1.
I thought
But actually, no, Back to the Future, I can see why that was number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Back to the Future, like we said, it just appeals to so many different people. Terminator, not as much, not everybody's into that kind of film,
Yeah.
So, but I thought it might be number 2, but yep, just barely beat out by Bill and Ted. I don't know. I mean, we're probably going to be talking more about that, I'm going to guess. So we won't talk too much now. Number 4, and I was pleasantly surprised by how high this ranked, is 1980s film Somewhere in Time.
Nice.
Yeah. No surprise that it was a lot of women that replied to it and everything. So proving that I have girly taste, I definitely approve of that one. But great movie. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about it, about the actual movie. Number 5. Number 5 was actually tied with number 4 with so I guess they could both be number 4, whatever.
Somebody was biased.
Yeah. This one squeaked in there at the last minute for the same spot as Somewhere in Time, and I'm a little surprised that this didn't rank higher. But number 5, or tied 4th, is Doctor Who.
Interesting.
Yeah. I know you're not a fan, Vito, or you just aren't familiar with it.
No,
really,
not
but-
really. I didn't know it had a lot to do with time travel and all that.
Are you serious?
It's
Yeah.
nothing
That's all
but
it's-
Oh,
time
really?
travel.
That's all
He's
Doctor Who is
a
about.
time
He's
lord.
a time lord. He's a time traveler. That's what the TARDIS is.
I see.
Time and
That's his
relative
time machine.
time and relative dimensions in space.
I thought they just went to like other planets and dimensions.
Well, they do
or
that
something.
sometimes too, but it's mostly traveling time. Yeah, there's some cool shit that
Yeah.
happens.
Which we will talk more about
Yep.
in a while.
Yes.
Right now, somebody's furiously typing a YouTube comment that I don't know about Doctor Who and time travel.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't give a shit.
Oh boy. Okay, and then on to number 6. Number 6, just slightly below number 5, is, and people, a few people that mentioned this did specifically mention that it was the book. Others didn't specify, so I don't know if they were referring to the fucking TV show.
I think I know what this is.
I think we all know what this is.
It is 2011 Stephen King novel, 11/22/63. An incredible novel.
Sure is.
Absolutely incredible. Like incredible, I can't talk anymore. Incredible novel. The TV show,
Not
so much. No, but anyway. And then lastly, the last one that got a significant number of votes was the classic TV show Quantum Leap.
Mm.
I mean, that was so popular back in its day and
Yeah.
stuff. People still remember it. So, I watched Quantum Leap, but I haven't watched it since it was on. I used to watch it back in the day and everything. I liked it. I think my grandma liked it, actually. She used to watch it sometimes. And I thought it was cool, but it's not one of those ones out of all the TV shows that I watched that were time related and stuff. Quantum Leap, I don't know. It was a little goofy.
It's where Scott Bakula goes back in time, but he inhabits a body or something, right?
It's a cool concept, but
It's like that Traveler,
Yep,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds exactly
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
almost.
right. So, but it just one that no spoilers, but it didn't make my list.
Yeah.
But it's Quantum Leap. I acknowledge that it's a good one.
Mhm.
And then we had other ones that kind of all only got like a few votes, handful of votes each and stuff. We had ones like movies like Time Bandits, which is a classic, cult classic. We had frequently asked questions about time travel. I had a few people mention that one. I'm not familiar with
Me
it,
either.
No.
and I'm intrigued, which is another great thing about when we do this. I love doing the poll because people bring up stuff that I'm like, oh,
I
okay.
didn't think of that.
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Another one that I think is a really good movie, but for some reason I just wouldn't think to, even though it's totally about time travel, is X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that one
Mhm.
yet? Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Another one that a couple people mentioned, although they did acknowledge that it's maybe on the cusp of being a time travel story or not, is Frequency.
Okay, is that the one with the radio where he gets
I
messages?
believe
Or
so,
okay,
yes.
yeah. I wanted to see that when it came out. I just never got around to it.
Yeah,
but-
if it's the one that I'm thinking of, I saw it. It's good, but I can see. I mean, it does still kind of deal with time travel,
Yeah.
but it's not in the typical sense, I guess. Another one that got quite a few mentions, and I'm sure we don't need to talk too much about right now, is Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll talk about that more.
Yeah, I had a feeling. Another one that I'm kind of surprised. Well, it deals with time, but it's not in your typical sort of time travel way. So I wouldn't include this, but I know a lot of people who do when they talk about time travel, which is Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See, and that's kind of being more stuck in like a time loop,
Right.
as opposed to traveling time, traversing time
Yeah.
and stuff. So anyway, Groundhog Day, that's a classic. One that I think Megan's never seen and Vito and I are not a fan of, even though a lot of people speak real highly of it, is 12 Monkeys.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to check that one out.
It's worth seeing.
And then you guys kind of were like, I was like, all right. Well, maybe
There's
I
there's
won't.
aspects of it to like. I think I just
Right.
when I saw it, people were like hyping this movie up as being the greatest time travel
Right.
movie ever, and it's like, no,
Oh.
it's not.
No.
It's. But you
Sorry,
might.
folks.
It's. I don't know.
Okay.
It's an okay concept.
I see. Okay.
They made a TV show, I think, as well a few years ago,
I think so.
right?
Oh, yeah.
On Sci-Fi Channel or
I
something.
think you're right. I wouldn't know and didn't watch it because I didn't like the movie. So, another one that maybe sadly enough isn't more highly ranked, but I think it's just because of its age and everything, is H.G. Wells' The Time Machine.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's great. loved that movie when I was a kid. Man.
Yeah.
You know, I used to watch that on.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And then they did a remake in the early
2000s with Guy Pearce, I
Right.
believe.
Guy
that
Pearce
one,
is
I
in
actually liked that one. That was kind of cool.
I only saw bits of it. What I saw, I really liked, and it's one of those on that long list of ones that I'm like, I have to watch that whole movie someday, and I haven't watched it. And you would think I would have done it for this episode, but I dropped the ball. You know, but yeah, I mean, totally deserving of this. I mean, it's the one. You know,
Yeah.
it's the one of the originals. Another one that I'm not familiar with that got a few mentions was Timeless.
The TV show,
Okay, yeah.
excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's very
see?
good.
All right. Okay, good. See, I'm learning shit. Another one that got a few mentions that Vito will be happy about is Time Cop.
Yes. Did they put Time Cop 2, the Berlin decision in there? I'm going to guess no.
No.
Dang it.
Oh, man. Wow. Time Cop 2, the Berlin decision. Okay.
Yep.
No, that wasn't specifically mentioned. They
Oh,
just
okay.
said Time
I
Cop.
gotcha.
So I'll tell you what.
It
Just
could
to,
mean that.
I was going to say, just to humor you, man, we're just going to say it was all-encompassing of any Time Cop movie, all right?
And the TV show or
Yeah,
All
they
of
didn't,
them.
they didn't
It-
say.
it's
I think
all
it's
of
all
and the
of it.
comic book series too?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I'm sure.
They've been all
And
of
the
it.
extended universe now? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
yep,
Okay.
yep. They got it
Just
all.
checking.
It's all good. If it's got time and
And
cop,
cop.
It's
it's all good. Another one that got mentioned by a few people, and it's funny because it's one of those ones that I mentioned it to a couple people, and when I mentioned it, they went, "Oh, why would that have anything to do with, time travel?" And then when I explained it, they went, "Oh shit, yeah, it totally does." Which is Harry Potter's third movie, The Prisoner of Azkaban. It has a total time. The whole fucking thing's about time travel almost, and it's just, but it's funny how, like, you don't automatically think of it that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those stories that once you sit down, you're like, oh yeah, absolutely. But anyway, I'm a huge. You two are not, but I'm.
I was gonna say, take your word on that one.
I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Love, and Prisoner of Azkaban is actually my favorite. So that's a good one. It's a good one. And then one we were just talking about, speaking of movies that I should have watched in preparation for this episode, but I'm going to use all these for an excuse to do a part 2 sometime, is one of the more recent ones, the Tom Cruise opus, Edge of Tomorrow. And the reason I didn't see that movie was because when it came out, when it was coming out, there were all these fucking negative reviews from Rotten Tomatoes and all you fucking people and all that with you don't have agendas at all. Anyway, because you don't like Tom Cruise or whatever, that said, oh no, this is terrible, it's stupid, it's this, it's confusing, it looks so lame, blah, blah, blah. And not that I will sit there and go, oh, well, I'm not going to see it now because of that. But I wasn't hearing anything about it. And it was really not promoted that much. At least not to me. And maybe other people are like, what are you talking about? It was promoted. I hardly heard about it.
I think I saw one TV ad and that was it.
Right. Me
And
too.
I forgot about it. My buddy Donnie's like, no, dude, you actually got to sit down and watch this. And
And-
we're going to watch right now. And we did. And it was fucking awesome, man.
And that's the thing, is that then after the movie came out, gradually there were people that were like, hey, did you see that? And I was like, oh yeah, that kind of came and went. They were like, dude, that movie was actually amazing. In fact, I think we were on one of our transatlantic flights or something. I forget where we were going, and it was on a plane, and we were on a plane rather, and there was one of the movies available on the plane, and I don't one of the other guys in the band, at least one or two of them, was like, we just watched Edge of Tomorrow and it was fucking great. And I'm like, holy shit. Damn, I wish I would have watched that one. So that's on the list. I got to watch that. Another one that everybody talks about, I've never seen. I've heard it's out there, is Donnie Darko.
Never seen that one.
Yeah, I
either.
never saw that one.
And there's so many geeks. There's so many people Like, and I mean geeks with affection, because
We are
obviously we're
geeks.
geeks. The show is called Geeking Poetic, but there's so many geeks out there that right now are like, you haven't seen Donnie Darko? Holy shit! Like, that's such like, you know, that's such a thing, man. That's such a cult thing and everything.
Yeah.
I totally want to see it. I know all about it. I've read so many things about it. I've watched other podcasts and stuff and YouTube channels talk about it. I pretty much know about it, but I've just never sat down and watched it. It's an odd one from what I understand. But and then the last one that got any significant votes was Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost.
That's a funny movie.
Is it?
Yeah, and I don't even like Will Ferrell, but that's a funny fucking movie.
Oh, that's right. They redid that one,
See,
right?
I grew up
That's
with
the one I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I grew up with the old
TV show, right?
yeah,
That's-
Sid and Marty
Yeah.
Krofft
yeah.
show from the 70s. That was my Land of the Lost, yeah. Which I thought was cool when I was a kid. And I watched it like when I got older. Remember in like the 90s when all the HR Puffin stuff and all those things kind of like came back. They were showing them on Nickelodeon, Nick at Night all the time. And I remember watching it and going, "Oh fuck, this is horrible. This is terrible, man." Like I can't believe I loved this so much when I was a kid. It was like one of my favorites. I'm like, "Ooh, this is bad." So I never watched the movie because of it.
No, the movie. I think the movie's funny, and again, I don't like Will Ferrell,
Really?
and I laugh, so it was
Yeah.
pretty damn funny.
I don't. How can you not like Will Ferrell? He's so fucking fun. Sometimes he's obnoxious,
I just find him obnoxious half the time.
but sometimes, man,
But there are certain movies where I'm like, yeah, all right.
or shows,
He's
there's
funny.
certain things he does. Man, if you ever want to see some funny Will Ferrell stuff, look for the outtakes like the blooper outtakes from Eastbound and Down. You remember Eastbound
Oh,
and
yeah,
Down? That-
yeah.
with the baseball.
Yeah.
And he was that like car dealership guy with
That's
the white
right.
hair. and
Yeah.
Dude, some of the outtakes of that when he's just making shit up, he's just riffing some of the shit. It literally, I was like, my stomach hurt because I was crying, laughing so hard that yeah. Sometimes he's funniest when he's just like able to let go and riff like everything. Anyway, so I'll real quick read through through the rest just so everybody gets a mention. There was a show called one called Dark that people mentioned. Scrooged,
Oh,
of course.
of course,
So
duh.
the old the Tale of Scrooge. They specifically mentioned Scrooge though.
Bill Murray movie?
Yeah. 7 Days TV show.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about that more. And then there was both SG-1 and Atlantis of Stargate.
Yeah.
That dealt with it. The Kelvin timeline reboot of Star Trek with your man.
I approve.
Yeah. Another one Vito will approve is somebody specifically mentioned some of the 1990s episodes of the TV show The Outer Limits.
Fuck yeah.
Vito, you wouldn't have anything to talk about the 1990s Outer Limits, would you?
Huh, maybe.
Everybody, please tell Vito to just
Do his outer limit.
we just want
Guys,
we want to hear him talk
you have
about
no
Outer
idea how
Limits.
bad I want to get that out so
I
I can
know.
get to the 90s episodes.
I
man.
know. Well, it's kind of like me, like how bad I want to start doing things, talk about toys and shit. We just don't have time to do everything.
Yeah, the next couple months, Larry and I are extremely, extremely busy.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
Yeah, the music biz is taking over
Yeah.
for a little while, but that's why we're trying to cram as much in now with this. But anyway, we'll be talking about that eventually. And then thankfully, a couple of classic old stories got mentioned. People said you can't talk about time travel without at least mentioning A Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court and The Sound of Thunder.
What is Sound of Thunder? Is that a
Yeah.
Bradbury?
I forget.
Yeah, I'm
I know there's a
not sure what
band
that is.
named after that. There's some kind of power metal band.
I know that there's a Duran Duran song named I'm waiting for the sound of thunder. I need to go to Late Bar, man. I'm just throwing that out there. Just throwing that at anybody in the Chicago area that likes new wave music and they like going to Late Bar, like let me know because I need a dance party in the near future, man. I need some new wave. Okay, so then we've got another one. It's funny, I didn't even think of this, and I'm like, was Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
So we always kind of think of time travel more in the going backwards in time sort of aspect, whereas Planet of the Apes deals with going through some sort of anomalous wormhole thing and traveling into the future. So that's one. Somebody mentioned The Man in the High Castle.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like an Amazon show. It's where like the Nazis win the war.
That's that one. Okay, see,
so
I'm bad
America's like
sometimes-
controlled by Nazis.
Right,
And
I'm bad sometimes with titles and things.
I think it was a Philip K. Dick novel, if I'm not mistaken, or
You
short
calling
story.
Dick? Another one got mentioned is A Wrinkle in Time. Somebody also mentioned the segment that is titled Time Out, which was from Twilight Zone the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which was, controversial because that's the one with the horrible decapitation, real life decapitation that happened.
Fucked up, man.
Yeah, with the helicopter and stuff. When things go bad in movie making. Somebody mentioned Timeline.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You got it?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Yep, they said got to mention the book.
Yeah, the book. Yeah, yeah. We'll get into this
Okay, all right, okay.
because the book and movie are different.
Okay, all right. Somebody actually mentioned, throwing a little curveball here, they mentioned Mortal Kombat 9. I've never played Mortal Kombat 9, so...
Me either. I don't know.
Yeah, see, I thought they went from Mortal Kombat 4 straight to Mortal Kombat X, so I didn't know there was 5 through 9. So
it's because X stands for 10.
yeah,
Vito.
I know, but I didn't know because I had been so out of the loop with Mortal Kombat. I didn't realize they made those in between games. So
Gotcha. Well,
unless you're talking about the movie Mortal Kombat 9, then that I know about.
no,
but-
they said the
okay.
video game. Yeah, you would know about.
I'm kidding. They only made 2 Mortal Kombat
Yeah,
movies. So.
thank God for that. Then somebody brought up a brand new one that I've been hearing so much about, which is Netflix's The Umbrella Academy.
Oh, yes. I definitely want to see that. I keep getting recommended to watch that. I was like, all right, I will.
See, I thought that was a Resident Evil TV show because Umbrella Corporation. That's what I thought it was, but
No.
I guess it's not. So
Yeah.
Nope. Nerp. So somebody mentioned another book called Wheel of Time.
I know that.
Yeah,
I haven't read it, but I know the name of that.
another one, and see, I'm not sure if it's time travel per se. Well, I don't think it. I don't know if this is really about traveling time. Is more like a trading places of time kind of thing. They mentioned Dream a Little Dream. Do you know that movie?
I know of it, but I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, with like Corey Haim and Feldman and all them, and it's about where they, and who's the other? Is it Jason Robards? Maybe and it's about the thing where the grandfather, Corey Haim and his grandfather, whatever, they like it's like Freaky Friday. They like swap places.
I know Freaky Friday.
Yeah, I say that, and everybody knows that. It's
No.
it's that kind of story. But
Or 13 going on 30.
Maybe they're
Right?
maybe. Oh wow. Maybe I apologize. I haven't seen that movie since the late 80s. So, it's another one that people have told me I need to watch again. So, maybe whatever. It got a vote. Future Man. I don't know Future Man.
The drummer that plays with Victor Wooten. Is that who they're talking about?
Could be. I mean, a drummer would know a lot about time.
That's true.
So, I'm surprised kind of didn't get more comments and stuff, knowing its popularity, even though I'm not a big fan, is Army of Darkness. Another one that got mentioned that I'm mad at myself that I never even thought of it was Doctor Strange.
You were pretty mad when you read that.
Yeah, because I love that movie, but that's just as well because we will be talking about Doctor Strange next month. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Only one person, maybe there was 2, that mentioned Looper.
Yeah, I want to see that one.
Yeah, I want to see it too. I just haven't.
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't get it fit in there.
Yeah. And then another one that I've seen a few people mentioned and I've never seen was Time Traveler's Wife.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to see
Yeah.
that one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the astronaut's wife.
Oh, yeah. And then mainly mentioned by our bass player Mike Feldman.
Let me guess. Every Star Trek episode that has to do with time travel ever?
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. Along with First Contact as well, he mentioned,
we got that somewhere over there. So.
Yeah, First Contact is a great
Fuck
movie.
yeah, it is.
Love
I
it.
always bring that on trips when we do plane.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice. Another one that it got a couple of mentions. I'm surprised it didn't get more mentions because I know it's popular with people, and it's a funny movie. Is Hot Tub Time Machine?
That movie's hilarious.
I only saw it one time. It's been a
They
while.
made a reference to Stargate SG-1 fan fiction, and I lost my fucking mind because I was like, "That is so fucking awesome that you guys referenced that in this movie." It was
Wow.
great.
Isn't Cusack in that?
I think he is actually
Yeah,
right.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Time After Time, which I don't know. I know the Cyndi Lauper song.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did they make a movie based on that song?
I don't know. Could be. Last but not least, we got one vote for Rush 2112.
Yes.
I'm not sure that even deals with time travel either, does it? But
Right,
it
they're
deals
just in
with
the future, right?
it
And
deals
they-
with a dystopian future.
Yeah.
You know. So I don't know if that really counts, but
We'll count it anyway.
I'm
'cause
mentioning it
it's-
anyway
yeah.
because it's fucking Rush 2112. Attention, all planets of the Solar Federation. We have assumed control. Yeah. But anyway, so that's it. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for submitting all that. That was really kick ass that you guys took part in the whole thing and stuff.
Thank you.
So. But yeah, we've already been talking about this for a while, so let's not waste any more time. Let us jump into our top 5. Woo. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hold on. If you're gonna do that, I'm gonna start coughing. Stop it.
Top 5. Beautiful. Cough drops. Even more beautiful. Boom, boom.
You're gonna kill me. Stop it.
Chicka chicka. Boom, boom, boom. Well, we're not talking about Ferris Bueller here. There's no time travel in that one.
Don't get why people like that movie so much.
Are
dude.
you fucking
Yes,
kidding me?
I'm serious.
Are you?
Dead serious.
This really shouldn't surprise us anymore.
That's such a great movie. It's funny and it's touching and it's,
None of the above.
my God, man.
Vito, that vein is popping out of his forehead again. Stop it.
Do you believe this shit?
It was filmed 30 minutes north of here.
Well, all
but-
of John Hughes' movies are,
Highland Park area over there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, anyway,
Don't get it, I'm sorry.
Shermer, Illinois.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go through our top 5. Like we always do, let's start with number 5. We'll go around. Everybody name their number 5, and then we'll move on. Number 4, 3, 2, 1, and then after that we will discuss the movies in more in depth. Okay, so let's start at number 5. It is tradition, Vito. I always like to start with you.
And that movie would be Time Cop.
Speaking of Time Cop, should have known that was going to be on the list.
Yes. And I'll just include Time Cop 1 for the matters of this discussion. We won't get into Time Cop 2, the Brilliant Decision, even though I do enjoy that movie as well. We'll just stick to Time Cop, I guess.
You'll save it for the next round.
Yeah, well, that'll be round 2. Then round 3 will be the extended universe novels. Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
We could do a whole episode on it, I'm
Oh,
sure.
just Time Cop,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty to talk about.
So,
We'll have to remember that.
yeah, future reference. All right, Megan.
I chose a little movie called Midnight in Paris
Okay.
I have not heard of that one
with
before.
Owen Wilson and Rachel McAdams.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah. Pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you'll have to inform us because I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah. All right, I will do that.
You'll have to let us know. Okay, so my number 5, which is probably going to surprise a few people that know me well and would think like, oh, I'm surprised that's only number 5. My number 5 is, and it's not, obviously I'm kind of sort of like Vito's doing with his Time Cop, he's just generalizing somewhat. My number 5 is the legendary TV show series Doctor Who.
Really?
Yeah.
You put it that low?
Number 5. Yep. I will explain why when we get into it.
I thought mine. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay.
So Vito's was Time Cop, Megan's was
Midnight in Paris.
and mine was Doctor Who. Okay, it's going to get interesting. So, number 4. Number 4.
Vote for show.
Yep.
Okay, so mine is an episode from the 90s Outer Limits TV show.
There we go. I think Vito rigged that whole list that I read off earlier. He was like, hey, messaging
guys.
people online, being like, "Hey, somebody do me a favor.
Do you really have like 88 Facebook accounts? So you like went in.
It's
Yeah,
not
I'm
that
on to
high
you.
yet.
I'm
You should
on to
you
you.
should have seen my MySpace days.
Really?
When I had 3 Steven Seagal accounts,
Oh my god!
and one woman actually thought I was Steven Seagal. Like for real, she thought I
You
was Steven Seagal.
catfishing people.
Wow. Good lord! It was the dark days of the
Yeah.
internet, Megan. It was dark times.
I never catfished anybody. I just thought it was hilarious to start a fake Steven Seagal page for some God knows reason. But it was fun while it lasted. And then finally shut me down. But anyway. my number 4 is an episode called Tribunal from Outer Limits 90s TV show.
Cool. Okay, Megan.
My number 4 is actually Doctor Who.
Oh, okay. So it was a little.
Yeah, I
little
thought
low
mine
for-
was pretty low, but yours topped me.
Nope, I showed you.
You showed me, didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought I was going to get yelled at for putting it that low.
Well, again, keep in mind, like I said, and I know it was this way for all of us. I mean, to sit there and think that something ranked low, I mean, comparatively, when each one of our lists could have easily been top 15, top 20.
Oh, easy.
So the fact that these even made it into the top 5 is significant.
Mm-hmm.
This one, not the most popular choice. It's not that well known of a movie anymore. But I know. I already talked to you. I know you haven't seen it. I know Vito likes it, and I like it. It's right in the center of that table right there. It is 1980s, The Final Countdown.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Dude. Yeah, hold that up for the audience. Movie with Kirk Douglas, Martin Sheen, and we will get into it.
And Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's such a great movie.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, so good. But anyway, yeah, that was my choice. So okay. So we've got
Nice.
your Tribunal,
Tribunal.
Doctor Who, and The Final Countdown.
Do-do-do-do.
Yeah, inevitably. Yeah, we should just insert right there. We should.
I'll when we get to that, I'll tell you a funny story that me and my buddy Donnie want to do based on that movie.
Oh
But-
no!
Oh, boy.
Oh god. Okay. All right. Let's do our number tres.
Tres amigos. So mine, we're going to a book for mine this time.
Mm.
And that is a little number called 11/22/63.
Nice. Huh. Well, yeah, we'll be talking more
Yeah,
about
there's
that.
wow there. You guys wouldn't shut up about that book.
I still won't.
I
You
still,
give me, you give
I'm
me
still
an
yet to
avenue.
get through it.
Yeah. Oh, what is wrong with you?
I'm
So
doing the
good.
audio book and I can't stay focused. We
The
talked about
audiobook
this.
is great.
Yeah, the narrator is a fucking
It's so
It
good.
awesome.
It is. It's good. It's something wrong with me. I can't stay focused on an audiobook.
Well, it's good that when you have
And
a
that
problem.
thing, look at that. That's scary. That's a textbook.
This took me 5 days to get through.
Yeah, it's good
It
that
would
when
take
you
me
have a
5
problem, you admit it.
years.
I'm glad you can admit that you have a problem.
I do have a problem.
Yeah, no. Sitting down and reading it that's a long read, but it just sucks you in, man. It's
Yeah,
so
it's,
good.
yeah. It's you can't put it down, literally.
I think I would do better with the physical book.
So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a little Netflix show, and it's apparently also on a Canadian show called The Travelers
Okay.
that I've currently sucked into.
Gotcha.
It's a good one.
It just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, and I've heard you guys talk about it and never seen a lick of it.
Hmm.
So I'll be interested.
We will fill you in.
Yeah, I'll be interested. I'll be interested to hear what you got to say about it. And then, funnily enough, because I didn't know what your lists were, my number 3 is a book called 11/22/63.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, man, again, for some people, they're gonna be like, "Whoa, it was like you said, as much as you talk about that book, I'm surprised it's not higher. Well, yeah, something just edged it out slightly because this was originally going to be my number 2, and then it got edged out a little bit. And, well, I'll explain why this got edged out.
Okay.
So, all right, cool. So, yeah, me and you got 11, 22, 63, and you've got Travelers, right?
Travelers.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Now we are on to Dos. Number 2.
So,
Poopy.
Back to the Future series.
The whole series.
The whole
Okay.
series. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that
can't
makes
just
sense.
pick one. So.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. Yeah.
Mm.
It seemed like that's what a lot of people did in the polls.
Yeah.
So that's valid.
Yeah, just pick them all.
Well, it feels like one long movie.
Because it pretty much is. It's a continuation, you know.
There is no gap
Right.
there. Like it just continues on. And didn't they film 2 and 3 at the same time?
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So totally valid.
Mhm.
All right, I'm good with that. Your number 2.
My number 2 is Interstellar.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that.
Let me exhale now.
Yeah. My number 2 is Interstellar.
Oh,
All right. Ooh.
nice.
Yeah. So my number 3 matched yours, and my number 2 matched yours. So for
Nice.
not having crossover,
You have a lot of crossover with us, don't you?
yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little
Little
bit.
bit.
Little bit.
Yeah,
You crossed over just a little bit.
We crossed over. No. You
Not a lot bit,
you
little bit.
crossed over a little bit. A little bit. So now get your fucking shine box. Okay, so cool. You want to move on to the big number 1?
This might be a shocker to some of you.
I think this is going to shock anybody, Vito.
The Terminator series.
Of course.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Of course it is.
It actually beat out Time Cop. Can you believe it?
Yes.
By a lot.
Yeah. Yes, I can believe it. And nothing against Time Cop, but rightfully so, Vito.
No, yeah, I will give that to you. As incredibly amazing of a film that Time Cop is, it's no comparison to the Terminator series. So.
No, especially T2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Obviously. Greatest movie ever made.
Megan?
I chose a fine little movie that I could not get enough of growing up, and that was Star Trek: The Voyage Home.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I'm
Nice.
glad somebody mentioned it.
Had to have Star Trek in there somewhere. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't have Star Trek in there anywhere. Neither did Vito.
No.
For being such Trek nerds that we are.
Dude, there's just
so much
I-
other.
so
Yeah,
much,
Trek. Trek is a whole other. Like we always say when we do things, it's like we're not mentioning Trek. It's like Trek is its own thing with us as people. If they don't already know, we'll find out very soon that we can go off on a whole other tangent when it comes to Trek. So. And then, as no surprise to you guys, and probably a lot of people that know me, is my number 1 is that aforementioned 1980 movie by Jeannot Schwartz, named Somewhere in Time. I mean, Christopher Reeve, man. You know,
Right after Superman.
right when he was still Superman. He was still in the thick of it. You know?
Was
This was 1980. So?
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
was
Oh,
before
wow.
it was before Superman 2 came
Wow.
out. So he was still in Superman shape and still had kind of Superman hair and everything, and he was, he's fucking Superman, but traveling time, and not by spinning,
I was going to
did
say.
not by spinning the world backwards.
Was that his audition tape to get this one? I could do it.
Yeah, he's like, I know all about traveling back in time. I did it. So, yeah, no. So there you go. I mean, it's just it's kind of cool. It makes sense that our number 1s are going to be what they are, because not only are they our number 1 time travel movies, but for us they're like all-time favorite movies.
Yes.
Period. Because I know Star Trek 4 is one of your all-time favorite.
It's my absolute favorite one.
Right. And anybody that doesn't know that T2 is Vito's all-time favorite movie.
Of all time.
Yeah. Exactly. And Somewhere in Time is not my all-time favorite movie, but it's top 5. I mean, it's up there. People be like, "You mean like what about Star Wars and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, bro. It's up there. It might even be, if you ask me right now, like, okay, you had to choose, one of these is going to be wiped from existence, Star Wars or Somewhere in Time. Sorry, Obi-Wan.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I've had my time. I've had my time with Star Wars and everything. It's, I love Star Wars. I always will. But Somewhere in Time is it's just one of those movies, man. I have a lot of memories. Well, I do with Star Wars too, but I have a lot of memories attached to this because I saw this pretty much when it was new.
Mm-hmm.
So, good movie. But I won't talk about it too much now because we're gonna
Save it all.
We're gonna save it. And let's start, and then we'll talk about our honorable mentions after, because that's like a whole nother episode.
It's going to take us half an hour just to get through those.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it really is.
I'm not going to get home till like 4 a.m.
Jeez.
Do we wanna delve?
Let's delve.
So Midnight in Paris.
Midnight in Paris.
In Paris.
Paris.
Interesting.
Kathy Bates in it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I like Kathy Bates.
Yep. I can't remember what character she plays, but she's in it.
Does she break anybody's ankles?
She
She let anybody down a well.
No.
She played
She
the
doesn't
mother of a
hack
witch
anybody
house?
with an axe or anything.
Okay.
Nope. At least I don't think so.
So tell me, so Midnight in Paris, what's the deal?
Midnight in Paris is a 2011 film. It has Owen Williams.
Owen Williams?
What's his fucking name?
Wilson.
Owen Wilson.
Wow.
You don't know my name?
Owen Wilson, who I love, so sorry, plays Gil Pinder.
Mm-hmm.
And Rachel McAdams plays his fiancée, Inez.
Real quick. Folks, if you don't already know, there's just tons of spoilers in this. So if you're like, oh shit, I always wanted to watch that movie, and we're going to ruin it for you, you might want to like skip ahead.
Or pause, go watch the movie, come back.
Right. Or Vito, I'm sure, will put time codes
yeah.
down below and everything if you want to skip it. So anyway, all right, I'm sorry. Carry on.
So they go to Paris with his fiancée Inez's parents. They're like all uppity rich people. Mm-hmm. And he is a Hollywood writer, very successful. Oh my God, very successful. And he gets like all enchanted with Paris, and he decides he wants them to move there, and because he's writing a novel and he's kind of stuck on writing it. And he gets like all inspired by Paris and the rain in Paris at night and stuff like that. And she's like, this is terrible. I'm ready to go back home, like Miami or California or somewhere. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. It's like this other guy comes along and she's like, this guy's so great. And he's a total asshat the whole time.
Boy, that sounds pretty typical.
Pretty typical, yeah. So Gil, Owen's character, decides he's going to walk home after all that, or to the hotel. And it's at midnight through Paris. And he like stops at these steps just to kind of stop and contemplate and everything. And this car drives up. It's like an old timey car, 1920s car. And all these people are dressed weird from 1920s are like, come on, get in the car. Like, so he goes and get in the car with these strange people that he doesn't know.
Good old Gil.
In a town he doesn't know. Yeah, good old Gil. Always thinking. And so he gets in there and they actually get transported back in time to the 1920s. And he, every night at midnight, he goes for these walks and he always gets transported back in time. And, being a writer, he meets the Fitzgeralds, like Pablo Picasso, Salvador Dali, T.S. Eliot, Ernest Hemingway. Meets like all these famous people from that time era. And so for him, being a writer, that was pretty amazing. He's like, this is the golden age. This is when it was what it was. It was an amazing time period. And he meets this girl there. And she's like, well, this time, like 1896 or something, it's like, no, this is the golden age. So they somehow end up going back there. He's falling in love with her, but he's like conflicted because it's A, 1896, and B, he's gonna get a fiance back home he's like feeling
2011.
Yeah, it's in 2011 that he's like slowly getting distance between, because literally time between them. And when they go back to her time, she decides that she's gonna stay there. She loves it there, and he like has an epiphany. He's like, you know what? it doesn't matter where you are, what time you're in. It's always going to be just a normal Joe day for you there. You know, it's where you got to go back and make the best of where you are right now. And so he decides to go back to his own timeline, breaks up with the fiance because she was sleeping with the other dude. And he's like walking through midnight in Paris in the rain, and he meets this other girl. And so he stays there and he writes his novel and becomes famous. So that's the movie in a nutshell. So I thought it was very interesting.
Sounds interesting. I don't know if I buy Owen Wilson as a time traveler. But
You do in this movie. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the idea that he kind of bumble steps his way into it is kind of
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
He's like, okay, I'll get this car.
Does he play Owen Wilson in it?
well, he's Owen Wilson, so he only ever plays Owen Wilson.
Yeah,
so.
pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And this is a Woody Allen movie, right?
It is a Woody Allen movie.
Huh.
It's said to be one of his best movies. Like
really?
this.
Because it's weird because it's not one that I heard people talk about too much.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, I'm not trying to make it out like I'm some connoisseur of Woody Allen movies and stuff. I like Woody Allen, actually. I like some of his movies, but is Woody Allen's movie Radio Days is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I know nothing about Woody Allen films.
Yeah, I don't know if you would. You might like Radio Days, okay? Although you probably think it's a little slow, but Radio Days is deals with it's kind of semi-autobiographical about him growing up in the early 40s and stuff, being a kid, and relating stories that happened in his life to things that were playing on the radio, all the old radio shows and stuff, and different tales. And it's a good movie. I love that movie. So I'm open to. I mean,
Yeah, it actually won an Oscar and a Golden Globe
oh shit.
for screenplay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Rachel McAdams. I like
It
Owen
has
Wilson.
Rachel McAdams, Kathy Bates, Marion Cotillard,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Sheen, Tom Hiddleston.
Oh,
All
Hiddleston.
some of
shit.
the characters in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll have to check this out.
That sounds interesting. I would
Yeah.
watch it.
You'd watch it, give it a
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'd give it a shot in the mouth. I had to ruin it, right?
I was gonna say you just had to. Just
That's what I
had
do.
to do it.
That's what I do. You lets me do it, and I do's it. All right.
You're not helping.
Sorry. You want to move on to?
Let's move on.
Let's move on to Vito. You were Mr. Number 5. Was your time cop? right?
Time cop.
Nice.
Which, if you guys don't know what time cop means, it means a cop. It means a cop.
Some
that-
would say he was a cop.
It's a cop that polices the timeline. Hence, time cop.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
And I watched this movie. I rented it. I'm sure it was on VHS at the time. And when I watched this, I think it came out in 94. I probably watched it in 95. So I was like 13. And I wanted to become a time enforcement police officer when I grew up.
Oh boy, you were one of those.
Yes. I could not wait until the year 2025 or wherever it takes place to become a time enforcement police officer.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that kid that used to come into my store. His name was Steve.
Yeah.
Steve. My name's Steve. And he would come in and he would tell me about, he was a nice kid, but he used to, he was in high school actually. And he used to tell me about how he just really couldn't wait to graduate. And one day I was like, why, what's your plans? Why are you so anxious? And he told me it was because he is looking into figuring out how he can apply for Starfleet Academy.
I think you told me this story before.
Yeah. He's like, I'm joining Starfleet Academy. I don't
I think I got what it takes, Larry. I don't know.
Yeah, he was just like, he's like, yeah. And then at first I kind of laughed, and then I was just like, oh shit, he's
serious.
He's serious. Like, I don't have the heart to be the one to tell him it doesn't exist, So I don't know whatever happened to old Steve, but hopefully hopefully you found something out there, kept reaching for the stars and found something, became a
Yeah,
janitor.
don't
or
ruin
something.
his dream. It kept him on the straight and narrow.
Maybe I hope
maybe until he found out it wasn't real.
Yeah,
and then he
then
went off the rails.
Fucking crackhead, joined a bunch of gangs, all over for him after that.
You
He's
see
in
him in
prison.
you see him in like prison, yeah, and they're like, he's like in front of the parole review board, and they're just like, Steve, do you ever sit there and ask yourself just how you got here?
He's like, oh, I know.
He'll be like, I know exactly how I got here. The day that I realized that there was no Starfleet Academy. I thought I was going to be the next Wesley Crusher.
We all did, Steve.
So we all did, Steve. Every one of us inside of us has a Wesley Crusher.
Yeah, we do.
Just dying to get out.
I'm not going there. I'm not even feeding you two.
Anyway, yeah. So when did Time Cop come out?
I think it was 94.
94. Okay.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is the star.
Jean-Claude Van
Hell
Damme.
yeah.
And I'm not a huge Van Damme fan, but this to me is one of his best movies by far.
Really? I thought you
Yeah.
were a Van Damme fan.
No. I was all about Steven Seagal, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I think I was the Van Damme fan. I think you're getting us mixed up.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, it's like the Seagal and Van Damme thing. It's kind of like it was always sort of like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. There's like people were always like, oh, I'm a Beatles guy or I'm a Rolling Stones guy. White Sox and Cubs.
To me, those two bands don't have anything.
No,
like,
they're
you wouldn't
very
compare those
different.
two bands at all.
Well, but think about Seagal and think about Van Damme.
Exactly.
They're very different.
Yeah.
But they always kind of get that. You know what I mean? Like that sort of people.
It's like Stallone and Schwarzenegger, I guess, right? You kind of have
right,
that.
and they're so
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. So
they just both talk funny,
yeah,
and they're really built, and they could beat the shit out of me.
yeah. But
Yeah.
other than that,
Other than that, it's totally different.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
the idea that there's basically the premise of the movie is this senator wants to become president, but of course, as we all know, to become president takes a lot of money. Now, how are you going to get that money?
travel time.
Yep. It's a logical choice, right?
Right.
You find out that somebody's created time travel, you steal that motherfucker, you get the prototype, and you go back in time and steal gold from the Civil War and go back, or go back, play the stock market before the Great Depression, get a shit ton of money, you buy your TV ads, and you become the president of the United States until a time cop knows what you're doing. And you figure out he knows what you're doing. So you have to go back and kill him so he can't fuck you over in the future.
So you're saying that some guy managed to get a lot of money and he pulled a bunch of scam and switcheroo things and somehow he actually got to be the president of the United States? I don't know, man. I
don't think I could buy that.
I don't think that could ever happen.
It's not a very realistic scenario at all.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, where did you put those Cheetos that I was going to eat earlier, by the way? Just speaking of that, I was looking for those Cheetos. They're very orange and never mind. Anyway. Yeah, it's
Your
interesting.
Orange Crush.
Yeah, and some Orange Crush and yeah. Oy. Meg, you're fired.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, well, I mean, it's a cool concept. Yeah, I think the whole idea of having like somebody that polices the timeline. Well, I mean, that's a concept that's been used in other stories and stuff, right? Like there've been other kinds of like time watchers, like people who's guardians, timeline guardians, all that stuff. 11/22/63, there's the yellow card man, and it makes sense. Well, as much as
Outer Limits TV show has that too as well. There's a group of people that police time or watch out for time and go back and make sure that stuff lines up how it should.
Yeah.
Yeah, Travelers has something like that as well.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
The Master or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
It's needed with time travel.
Sure is, man.
Yeah.
A lot can go wrong in time travel.
Well, I figure
Touch on that more in the audio section.
exactly. Yeah, when we get into the more like I said, talking later about the realities or, concerns
What ifs
and
and,
what ifs and whatnots
Mhm.
about time travel and all those theories. We'll definitely talk about that. So, but yeah, I haven't seen Time Cop in years, but man, it's a good movie.
It sure is.
I've never seen your sequel though, I have to admit.
It's worth watching. It's not as good, obviously, but it's got I think it's Jason Scott Lee's in Time Cop 2.
Okay.
And my girl Tava Smiley's in it too. So.
Oh.
Mhm.
She used to be a host for Wild Chicago. Remember that TV show?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh boy. Maybe one of these days.
One of those days.
One of these days. It's just one of those days. Oh, here we go. Don't start that again. Every time we get on the Lip Biscuit thing, I don't know what it is about this. Just one of those days. We don't even like Limp Bizkit.
No, but it's just
it
funny.
just comes up. It's all about the he said, she said
Bullshit.
bullshit. All right. Anything more you want to say about Old Time Cop?
Go see it tonight.
I'm sure it's showing at a theater near you.
It was on Netflix, but I think they took it off.
Oh, I wonder
Oh.
why. And now it's on now you got to get like one of those Fire Stick things.
Yeah.
It's somewhere on there.
If you are
somewhere out there.
If you are into the movie and you don't know this, they did make extended universe novels that take part after the movie and stuff, and they also made a TV show that I think lasted 7 or 8 episodes back in the early 2000s, I think.
Oh, I find that hard to believe
Yeah.
it only lasted 7 or 8 episodes.
And there was a comic book that might have came before the movie. I don't remember if the movie was based off the comic book or not, but there are comic books out there. So
Okay.
if you're into it, there's a ton of medium about it. So
I
go
mean,
for
there
it.
might be people that watch this and are like, hey, man, I liked Time Cop, but I didn't know about all that other
Yeah.
shit. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right. So, moving on. By the way, if anybody's wondering why I look so particularly bulky and everything here, it's really fucking cold in here. We have to turn the heat off so that it doesn't make a bunch of noise when we're in the studio here. So I'm actually wearing like my winter coat down here and stuff. Vito's got his old hoodie on. You've got like 5 layers on.
Yeah.
I live in hoodies.
Well,
from
that's true. Yeah.
August 31st through May 31st, pretty much. I live in hoodies.
Yeah. You wore a hoodie like the whole time we were at NAMM in
Pretty much.
California,
Yeah.
and it was mostly like in the 60s and 70s
Yeah.
temperature wise. So.
I think it makes me look slimmer. That's why I think I do it.
Like the opposite of
I know.
anybody ever.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it doesn't really work that way. But you just keep holding on to your dreams, Vito.
Until I get my ass back in the gym, that's how I feel.
Oh, I know.
anyways.
We're all slacking in that area.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are all slacking. See, if we didn't go so damn late recording this stuff, I'd be like, let's go down the
Let's go to
street.
the
Yeah.
gym.
24-hour Planet Fitness. We're all Black Card members.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, number 5. So we'll tackle one of our doubles.
Yeah. Double dippers.
Yeah, when we're gonna double dip in.
It's a heavy
Not
topic.
Not yeah, no,
Not going there either.
Not
Not
like
touching that one.
Not that, no.
We have some goofy song titles at the moment.
Oh yeah, we don't need to get into
Yeah,
that.
so-
Anyway, so we'll talk about our number 5, which was Doctor Who.
Yes.
Let me explain. I ended up making this number 5 for a number of reasons, even though I love Doctor Who. I put it at the bottom of the list because, for one, there's too many. He's a time traveler, he's a time lord, and there's usually always some kind of time aspect to the show, but not everything is about traveling time. Kind of like you said earlier, Vito, some of it is just about traversing space or
Mhm.
whatever. It's not necessarily about traveling back in time, or even forward in time, though he does that a lot.
Mhm.
But more importantly, I tend to, when it comes to my favorite time traveling stories, I tend to lean more towards the dramatic.
Okay.
I like it when it's hard to sit there and say more realistic, because none of it's realistic per se, but I just like the more dramatic, Final Countdown, 11/22/63,
Yeah.
Somewhere in Time, so on. These are all more dramatic, serious kind of takes on it. Whereas Doctor Who, not to say it doesn't have drama at times and everything, but it's super fantasy. It's kind of geared towards kids at times. Oh well, not so much anymore. I think it started out being more of a kids thing, but it's got its moments. But I don't know, it's not really a kids thing.
No.
It's definitely maybe at least like a teens kind of thing or something.
Yeah, I could see that.
But in any case, yeah. So it's the least scientific, we'll say. There's not too much. Like I can sit there and talk, and when we will later, a more serious debate about the events of the final countdown, of the events of 11/22/63, of hypnotizing your mind, like Richard Collier does in Somewhere in Time. All that. Like I could sit there. There's not really much you can really rationally talk about with Doctor Who. It's
He's got the TARDIS. He can do whatever he wants. No logic or nothing.
There's no logic to it. It's kind of goofy at times. But don't get me wrong, for you like you haven't seen it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's great. It's funny at times. It's emotional and stuff at times and everything. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. Megan's had to deal with a few tearjerkers throughout the years watching that show. Yeah.
There's a Doctor Who convention in Chicago that happens yearly, I believe.
I want to go so bad.
I think in August.
Man.
I think we were talking about going last year maybe, but
there's so many conventions going on and everything, and they're all expensive. And
we'll make it 1 year.
1 year, but
We'll have to make for sure we do.
I'd love to go. But
there's a few particular Doctor Who ones that travel back in time that really stand out to me, and that's why I chose Doctor Who.
Right, and same here. That's why it still belongs up in the top 5 for me, because my favorite episodes personally, I like when he travels into the future. There's some great episodes with that. But I really like the ones where like with Van Gogh, I like when he like goes back in time and deals with, medieval or Renaissance era France, or he's dealing with the Queen of England in the 1700s, and just how he has no regard whatsoever for not fucking up timelines and stuff. Like he'll just He's
the Doctor. He can do whatever he wants.
Exactly. He does whatever the hell he wants, basically. And those are some of my favorites. What's your we talked about this before. If you had to pick a favorite Doctor Who episode, at least in terms of the ones where it deals with him traveling back in time, doing the time traveler thing.
I know we talked about this before. And the one that immediately jumped out to me was The Girl in the Fireplace. So that's the one I'm going to have to go with.
That would be in my top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really, really...
That's the name of the episode, Girl in the Fireplace.
Girl in the Fireplace.
Yeah, they end up on, this broken down ship or something in space.
So what happens is... they find Doctor Who and his traveling companions. They find themselves on this like weird alien spacecraft. It's like this giant spacecraft, and it's like broken down and malfunctioning, and there's no crew. But there's like these like robots, these like really weird cobbled together type robots that are running this, and they're like, what the hell? And they find inside the ship are these like little time portal kind of things.
Like dotted throughout the whole ship.
Dotted throughout the ship. And they come to realize that this time portal, each one of these time portals goes to different periods in time, but they're all connected to the life of this one French girl. And they're like, what is the significance of this French girl, And the first one that the Doctor goes through, the portal is through this girl's fireplace in her bedroom when she was a little girl. And the Doctor ends up rescuing her from these goofy, like, steampunky kind of like robots. Yeah, I see like that one there and everything. And throughout the whole episode, he can't figure out why these things keep coming back at different points in her life, because it's like when he first goes, she's only like 8 years old or 9 years old, really young. and everything, and he kind of appoints himself her
Guardian.
protector, her guardian. You know, like he's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna figure it out, and I'll always be here when he's trying to deal with that. Meanwhile, there's all this stuff going on. These robots that are attacking her obviously are from the ship. And they're trying to deal with all the stuff that's going on there because the robots on the ship are trying to attack them simultaneously while the doctor keeps going in and out of these portals. Like at one point, then he goes and she's in her like late teens now.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out she's basically being groomed to be the King of France's like mistress. The long and short of it is what they come to find out is that this ship was programmed in such a way, had such a survival kind of thing built into it that it was meant to do whatever it could to keep going. So it would get parts from wherever, to the point where it ended up murdering the crew of the ship, using their organs and things to actually power parts of the ship. So it's like at one point they're looking at this one machine thing and they're like, holy shit, that's like an actual human heart inside this one thing. It's like, so, and like I said, the whole...
Vito's like, wait a minute, this kind of sounds
there's
interesting.
cool shit in there. So,
kind of Matrixy a little bit.
A little bit, yeah, kind of. And I mean, and again, it's a little goofy. You know, I mean, David Tennant.
Who.
It's David Tennant.
Goofy.
He's always funny and shit. But
yeah, because aren't they like the reason they keep going back to her is they're waiting for her.
Yeah, the whole
be
thing
a
is
certain age.
they
to
need her.
Enough.
They've decided that she's not. They keep when he finally confronts them, he gets the robots to answer him, and they're primitive in the way they respond, and they keep saying, "Well, she's not ready yet. She's not like ripe enough yet," and he figures that for whatever reason they want to harvest her too. And he comes to realize that they want her brain.
Mm-hmm.
They need her brain for
to
some
run the ship.
That's because we need her brain to run the ship. And the whole time he's going, "What the fuck do you need her? Why this girl in like 1700s France? What the hell is it? You know?" But inevitably, so he ends up defeating them finally. Without giving it to, he ends up defeating them. They fail and all this stuff, and then. Towards the end of the episode, so he's not necessarily Doctor doesn't really fall in love with people.
They fall in love with him,
but they tend to fall in love with him.
Yeah.
So the girl, the French girl, she is she feels
she's being all French.
Yeah, she's kind of falling for. Well, he's her great protector and everything, and stuff. And she ends up saying to him like, I want to come with you, and he's like. Yeah, come on, be another companion. There she is right there. Mm. He's like, come be another companion with me and everything. And she's like, because she's unusual for her time and that she's very brave. And she's not like a wimpy damsel in distress. She's very tough. And she decides, absolutely, like, I'll get ready. The problem is, and this goes on several times throughout the series, that the dim-witted Doctor just forgets is, just like in Interstellar and all these things, when every time he goes through that portal and then he comes back, he's gone for 5 minutes, but time has elapsed in the other world. He could be gone for 5 minutes, but meanwhile, like 12 years has passed. So he goes to go back and get her, and he runs into the king, who kind of knows who he is, realizes he's this otherworldly helper and everything, and the king's kind of cool with it. And it turns out she died. Like a lot of people back then did. She died young. Yeah,
because he came back, 7 years later?
Yeah, she was like in her late 30s or whatever, and she had gotten sick, like a lot of people did back then, still dealing. And she had gotten sick and left him a note and everything saying, I'd hoped you were always going to come back, but, I get it for whatever reason, and, don't forget me, blah, blah, blah. Doctor's pretty beat up because even though he won, he still lost, which is a big theme of Doctor Who. Yeah. And then he leaves, and he, and his other companions are going, we never found out why the hell were they after this girl and everything? And he says, I guess we'll never know. Crazy thing. So the very last shot is the TARDIS taking off, takes away from the ship, and the ship is just left dead adrift in space, and it turns around. And then it shows the name of the ship, and it's USS, and it's the girl's name.
Huh.
It was named after her because she was a historical figure.
Okay.
Yeah, who was she?
What was it? Was it?
She was Pompadour. Something.
Yeah, Madame Pompadour.
Madame de Pompadour.
Madame. Yeah, so it was the It was, or was it the USS or whatever? It was the
USS Pompadour.
Yeah, but it was like that. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the whatever the like NCC
Right,
17,
right.
but it was like NSB Madame de Pompadour, and that's why it was like automatic. The ship was too dumb or whatever to realize.
Yeah,
It was just
SS
named-
Madame de Pompadour.
gotcha.
SS Madame de Pompadour, and it went after it sought her out because in its whatever
in its brain, and
in
in
its
her brain.
it decided, well, we need that, and that's going to make us right.
I
And it
gotcha.
just so.
Okay.
It just stories
that's
like
kinda
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Alright.
They do things like that. And then like my favorite episode is Vincent and the Doctor, which is an 11th Doctor story with Matt Smith and Amelia Pond, which is Karen Gillan, the redhead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like
Yeah,
her.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Nebula, from
Mm-hmm.
Avengers and stuff. So anyway, that's my favorite episode. That's the one where they go back in time and they meet Vincent van Gogh. So, and it's a really good episode.
Hilarity ensues. I'm
Somewhat
Not
funny.
really.
No.
It's
Kind of a sad one.
it's tragic. It's a sad story. Yeah, it's just the actor that plays Van Gogh in that episode he's so
Amazing.
good.
Yeah.
He's brilliant,
So
yeah.
good. Like it's just like, and if you know anything, I like Van Gogh, I like his art. I'm into him. And if you know anything about him and like it helps if you know some about him because it'll explain a lot more about his character in the episode because he is and was in real life a tragic person, a tragic character with a lot of demons and issues and stuff. And you think that it's gonna the Doctor and Amy do a lot of things that you think are gonna totally change his life. And it seems like it totally is. And then in typical Doctor Who fashion, the way it ends, you're like, oh, really? Like it's Doctor Who's kind of a heartbreaker, man. Like I don't mean like heartbreaker like Elvis Presley.
Right.
I mean like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
it's-
what he does. It's still
shit just never quite comes out right,
Yeah.
man. It's like he never really wins. Even when he wins, then there's like some little fucking thing that happens that's like, well, you won, but guess what? Your person, your companion that you're traveling with, well, they just died suddenly or something,
yeah, they're in a different timeline now.
Speaking of Angels the Angels Take Manhattan,
Mm-hmm.
The last Amy Pond episode and everything, the end of that one, you're like, what? Really? Like that? Really? After all this? After how many years? Like that? You're going to do that to us? Fuck you. So I still haven't completely reconciled that. I got to be honest with you. Where they went, because I still liked the rest of Matt Smith's tenure with his new companions and new stories, but that's even why by the time then when Matt Smith left and they got what's his nuts,
Peter Capaldi.
Capaldi, who's great, but I'm still dealing with that. I'm still reconciling that whole end of the Amy and Rory era. I literally was just like. Throwing shit up in the air like art really fuck you, like, which is probably why I've still never totally warmed up to what's her nuts that came afterwards, Souffle Girl. Yeah, her. Everybody at home that's in it is like, what do you
The
mean, her?
Impossible Girl.
Yeah, the Impossible Girl. She's okay, but just
Nobody liked her.
some people liked her. Nobody
was
liked.
okay. I didn't think
Nobody
she was-
liked poor Martha.
I liked Martha.
I like Martha too, and some of the best episodes were Martha episodes too. He has all these different companions, and stuff, and
Once one goes away, he picks up another one.
yeah.
And then they go away, and he picks up another one.
What we're gonna do, and then we'll move on. Is we're gonna have to at a later date. We'll do a night where maybe we pick like 3 or 4 choice episodes.
Yeah. And we're going to make Vito sit and watch them.
And it's going to depend on how you feel about those episodes to be like, oh, I might watch more of this, or just be like, this ain't really
We
doing it
won't
for
start
me.
him off with that one.
You won't start them off with which one?
That one.
Which one?
The worst Doctor Who one ever.
Oh,
It's probably
no.
the one I like the most.
I don't know. Well,
Is it where the aliens take over Parliament with those skins?
Oh, I
No.
hate that one.
Like the movie Cocoon?
no, there's a worse one than that.
That's
Okay.
so dumb.
'Cause
They
I-
keep farting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so dumb. So dumb. Yeah, that's not one of the better Doctor Who episodes, man. With the
One of the only ones that I saw was that Angels one where they turn around. Blink, I think it's called.
That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
Don't
one.
blink,
that one I
yeah.
loved. That
Okay.
one was really badass.
Well, that's the one I was just talking about. Angels Take Manhattan. It's
Yeah.
so fucking. All the Angels ones are always like, "Fuck, come on!" Like you know, time really becomes of the essence in those. Yeah. I don't remember what that one was called that you're talking about, but
Hold on. I'm trying to find it real quick.
in any case, yeah, Doctor Who belongs in here and everything, but because it's same with like Star Trek and stuff like that. It has some great. Star Trek has some great time travel stories. City on the Edge of Forever is a very well known time travel back in time story. But just for me, I don't know. I Trek, especially because it was so much more than time travel, I couldn't include it. Doctor Who is a Time Lord, so he belongs there, but that's why it's down at the bottom for me. All right, Vito, let's move on to yours, which was The Outer Limits.
The episode called Tribunal, which is a time travel story dealing with the Nazi imprisonment of Jews in the Auschwitz death camp. This episode is very, very heavy. Emotionally
Well, I mean-
charged
Say-
drama.
I would hope that if it's about that topic, it's not like it's a rollicking fun romp,
Yeah. This is a total tearjerker episode. Like, I don't know if you guys have movies that will automatically make you cry each time you watch them.
Yes.
This one for
I
me
have a bunch.
gets me all the time. It's really, really powerful. Acting is incredible in it. So basically, this guy, he's a Nazi hunter, and he thinks he's found this guy who basically had tortured his grandfather or his father back in the Nazi camp. So this dude from the future comes back, and he takes him back to the Nazi imprisonment camp and shows him this dude, and it's incredible. He sees his father and his father's it might be his grandfather, I forget. But they end up finding this guy. He goes back to the present, and he wants to try this guy for war crimes. This guy finds out that this guy knows who he is, so he wants to get out of town to go to Argentina. So they
Always
capture
Argentina.
Yeah, always Argentina.
Yeah.
They go back and they bring this Nazi war criminal back to the Nazi imprisonment camp as a prisoner. And he finds his self as the general, and the general does not believe that this old man is him from the
wow.
future. And let's just say that things go badly for this guy.
And from there,
Oh.
craziness
Interesting.
happens. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's very good. And they end up taking the little girl back to the future to reunite with her father. And that scene is fucking incredibly powerful, dude.
Wow.
It's very, very good.
I only saw a little bit of the 90s series. I don't remember that episode, so I don't think I ever saw that.
And there's a couple other episodes that deal with this time traveler. He's from the Tribunal, which is a futuristic time police almost. And he's in a couple episodes. It's really, really good.
Nice.
Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for somebody to do a series so I can learn all about the Outer Limits.
I was just going to say, should we talk more about it or should we wait until you actually get it? Although it's going to be a while yet, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's okay. It'll be worth the wait.
It will, for sure.
But yeah. No, I'm from what I remember of the 90s series, it was good. It was just one of those weird things where, well, it's like how I am now. I've never been good at like watching all of this. There's so few things. That's why, like, if it's on Netflix, I can sit there and binge something and watch a whole series. But back when it was like weekly episodic television, I was never home enough.
Yeah.
You were probably still young enough that you were home most nights.
Yeah, they played that every Saturday morning or afternoon, so I was usually home,
God,
and
yeah.
that's when I watched it.
Right. Yeah. See, I was not around. I was off doing whatever. God
Up
only
to no
knows.
good. Breaking people's hands with mallets.
Yes. That would have been right about that time
Yep, I knew it.
when that happened. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, let's not talk about that. But anyway, yeah, man, that sounds cool. And yeah, that's what I said. It's more like up my alley. I like when they take something that seems kind of implausible and out there, no pun intended, and they're able to make serious, emotional, dramatic stories out of it. So that sounds like it's right up my alley.
For sure, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Outer Limits had tons of dramatic, like tearjerker episodes.
Did it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm
Good stuff.
anxious to get into that.
Yep.
That's why we
Hint,
need you.
hint,
Yeah,
hint.
we need you to lead the way.
Take us to your leader, Vito.
Speaking of, fittingly enough, if we want to move on, if you're good to move on. Speaking of going back to World War II and that sort of thing, modern people going back to World War II and that whole stuff, but not dealing with what was going on in the East, but going on in the West. My number 4 was the 1980 film, The Final Countdown.
Do-do-do-do.
We're traveling to Venus, Venus. Do you remember that video, that horrible band trying
Yes.
to
Oh,
cover
I
that
certainly
song? It's so sad that I think most people think of that when they think of that song
Yeah.
now. It kind of ruined that song. Poor Europe. This movie came out in 1980, and it's a movie about an aircraft, a modern aircraft carrier that gets caught in some sort of crazy storm
Yeah.
that turns out to be like a giant time portal. And this modern aircraft carrier suddenly finds itself in the South Pacific of 1941.
With F-14 Tomcats on board and everything, dude. It's
so
awesome.
badass. It's so badass, dude. I love the scenes. I love the scenes when like those Japanese
The zero planes.
the zeros, yeah, are flying, and yeah, see, there you go, like that.
Yeah, buddy.
Those Japanese planes, and then all of a sudden they got these fighter jets on it. Holy, but those Japanese dudes were shitting their pants, man. It's so good. Yeah, look at that. Kirk Douglas stars in it as the commander of the ship. He's a badass.
Martin Sheen is the
Yes, Martin Sheen's in it.
Lloyd Kaufman.
Right.
What's his
Charles
next?
Durning.
Yeah.
Catherine Ross. Like, yeah, it's a good cast, you know. But it was produced by, I got to read this because I never can remember this guy's name. Yeah, Peter Vincent Douglas, and directed by Don Taylor, and this was Don Taylor's last film he ever made. It was a good one. The other cool thing that helped with this movie was that the U.S. Navy like endorsed it, like they totally helped them with it, and they were like,
Nice.
whatever you need, planes, you know, like it wasn't like bullshit stuff, like everything on that ship and what they knew and the history of stuff, everything, it was all legit. And man, I don't want to spoil this for people, man, like, because it's another one of those like, surprise, what a twist, and you know, big twist endings and stuff. I don't want to spoil it for people, and
I have
everything.
never seen this movie,
Yeah, I know.
so you're gonna spoil it for me.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. So obviously what ends up happening in this movie is that they go back to just before Pearl Harbor happens. So the whole thing is it becomes like a morality play on like, do we interfere and potentially save hundreds of thousands of lives? Because we could real easily stop those fucking...
They could literally destroy Japan with the arsenal that they have on that battleship.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Not even
my
counting
God.
like the nuclear weapons that Enola Gay dropped on Japan.
Yeah,
I mean,
not even getting into that was 4 years later. But I mean, but I'm just saying, like, you know, they get into this whole thing, and that's what Charles Durning's whole character is about, is that the pain in the ass politician that's saying, no, we gotta stop this, we gotta do it. And meanwhile, you know, Douglas and them are going, you know, should we stop this? And Sheen's like, you shouldn't. You can't mess with. Yeah, it would be great to save all those people's lives and stop this huge war from happening, but think about what resulted from that, and if we made that big of a change in history, like who knows what could happen then? Who knows where that could go? It becomes this whole big thing, and then there's this big twist ending and stuff that happens. It's a really cool story. It's a great what if story is what it comes down to. It's a great, like, imagine what if, if you ever wondered what it would be like, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when they've captured those Japanese pilots and they're trying to interrogate him and he's not cooperating and everything, and then the one guy goes in there and he's like the history buff. He knows all about everything that happened,
tactics and all
he
that.
knows. And the thing is obviously back then, that was all top secret stuff that only the Japanese knew. They knew all their plans, and who made the plans and who was going to take part and what time. And, they had all their codes, Foxtrot, Tango, blah, 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 all this stuff. They had codes and names for all these super secret plans they had. And this guy walks into the interrogation room, sits down in front of that Japanese guy and just starts rattling off, your plan is that on December 7th, at this time, you're going to fly. You're going to do this. It was ordered by this guy. The code for that is blah, blah, blah. And you just see that Japanese soldier going from being like, pissed off and like, obdurate, and just being like, whoa, like, how the fuck do you know all this? Like, that is like, how do you know our giant master plan to every minute detail?
Yeah.
I love that scene. I love that scene. It's just, that's so good. Like, just watching him blow that fucking guy's mind, So anyway, yeah, I don't have too much to say about this movie. I wish I did, because it's a favorite movie of all time for me. But yeah, if I don't want to give too much away, but if you're into that sort of thing, especially, man, if you love planes, if you love jets, and you love even old time planes, you love all that kind of stuff,
this is the movie for you.
Check it out, man. There's some good flying. There's some cool stuff in there, and like I said, just the whole juxtaposition of these these World War II planes that are having to compete with these, modern day jets. It's so badass. And I was raised a fan of airplanes and fighter planes and all that stuff. So, it's a good one. It's a real good one. Definitely. It's kind of a forgotten.
I don't hear a lot of people talk about it. I was surprised, I think, when I knew that you knew what this movie was.
Yeah, no, I grew up with this movie. I think I saw this at the theater.
Wow.
Well, again, my dad, my uncles, like mega big airplane fans. And I don't mean the movie Airplane. I mean
that's a really good movie, though.
It is. Actually, they took me to see that movie in the theater. Didn't I tell you that?
Yeah,
story?
you did.
Yeah. They took me to see Airplane in the theater, and it was the first time I saw a giant set of like 25-foot wide naked boobs on the screen. I was 7 years old. I went, whoa, okay, well, there's that. We crossed that off the list. Wasn't expecting that, I just wanted to see some comedy. But anyway, yeah, they were big fans of, my dad was especially a big fan of all jets, fighter jets, airplanes, all that stuff. But my dad was a really big fan of World War II planes and stuff. So this was the best of both,
Yeah.
My dad also was not a big fan of the Japanese Army. Well, my grandfather fought the Japanese in World War II, and I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it at that. It was a different time.
It was different. I mean, that generation just had to deal with all that stuff.
It was a different time, whether you like it or not. We can be PC as much as we want to and ought to, but people had their grudges back then for their own reasons. But still, I mean, in all seriousness, it was just cool the whole way it was done, and it seemed very legit, you know what I mean? Like the way they handled the naval crew and everything, it seemed super legit. And
the storm, not so much, but
I mean, again, when you're starting to get into special effects that were done in the late 70s, I mean, you're gonna get what you're gonna get. But who cares, man? It's the story that was good.
That's true.
It's a great story.
Plot trumps effects.
Exactly. So anyway, all right. we can move on. Move on. Singing some Paul Stanley. Move on. Oh yeah. Sorry, I just went and saw Kiss like a week ago, so still kind of got Kiss on the brain.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Okay, ready?
Steady.
Go. All right, everybody. So you may notice after the little commercial break that we look a little bit different. It's like, what the hell did they do? Like, go run.
Took a little refresher.
We were like Cher. We went backstage and had to change into new outfits.
It was laundry day, and we had to get to the laundromat like that
Right
minute, or else it was going to be closed. And then
pronto. No, what happened was we talked so damn much that we had to break up this recording over 2 days, and
we were going delirious.
Yeah,
it was literally like 2:30 or 2 in the morning or some shit.
at least, yeah. So
so
now we're back at a slightly less obscene time, but so we're gonna continue on. And we left off with basically going around our number 4s. Let's do our number 3s. And I think we should go with Megan's choice.
With mine, I went with Travelers,
Mm-hmm.
an awesome little series on Netflix. And I believe it was aired in Canada, too, for a while.
It seems like a Canadian show, sort of.
Yeah.
So maybe it started there. I'm not
Yeah,
Is everybody really
I think
polite?
They did both. Not really.
No, so it's not very Canadian, huh?
No. Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway, so basically there are a bunch of travelers from the future.
Okay.
And their future is so fucked up that they have been sent back to the past to stop a bunch of bad shit from happening to make their future better for their kind. They're all humans, but so basically they come in, and the person that's about to die has kind of like a countdown, like 3, 2, 1, and their time they're gonna die. So they come in, their conscious from the future takes over the present body. So they have to be the people from the future, but they also have to still live the current people's lives. So if they're married, they have to stay married and keep their spouse and everything. And like the one girl, she has a baby, so she's got to take care of the baby. And like one girl, she was like mentally incapacitated.
Okay.
And like you think she's just born that way, and then you kind of learn other things about her, and it got real interesting there in the second season, about halfway through.
Ooh.
Okay.
And now I'm into the third season, and I don't even know who's good and who's bad anymore. I mean, it took a total twist on me. I watched an episode tonight, actually, before I came here, so I'm glad we had to pause.
Okay.
Because now I don't know what's what, up and down, round and about. I don't know. And I'm really excited for the rest of the season, but I'm super bummed because they just announced this show got canceled.
I hope they don't end it on like a cliffhanger.
I know,
where you don't
because
know
they weren't
what's going
expecting it. So I was like,
That's
is this
what
going
happened
to
with-
end on a good one, or I'm like super pissed off when I get to the end of this season?
It's like Cleopatra 2525 all over again.
I don't even know what that is, but just the title alone. If somebody came to me and said, "Hey man, did you ever see that show Cleopatra 2525?" My answer would be no, but I bet Vito has.
And he has. He owns all the DVDs and is friends with Victoria Pratt on Facebook.
Oh,
Hi, Victoria.
wow.
And I've talked to her about that, and yeah, she's kind of mad that they didn't finish it either. But anyway,
we'll have to talk about that because
that sounds like a future episode right there.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's really interesting. And like, there's 2 factions and stuff. There's like, and that's who you don't know who's good and who's bad.
Right.
And at first it's like, obviously this one's bad and this one's good. And then they just took this super twist, and it's like, what? I don't even know what's happening now. So I'm really curious to see where this goes. This last few episodes I have.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't want you to reveal too much.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to be as vague as possible
because
here.
I definitely want to watch it.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I have every intention of watching this. From everything I've heard about it, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and like one guy he's the historian, and he has to keep getting these updates because obviously everything they do is changing the timeline.
Right.
So he has to go secretly get these updates, but he can't tell the rest of the crew he's getting the updates because now he knows what happens to them in addition to the old stuff. So he's like, it's, code 2H or something like that. And I'm like, I've never heard of 2H. What is 2H? And that's what it is.
Oh.
Like it's top secret because they can't know he knows the new stuff.
Nice.
But if like they go off mission and everything, little kids come in. And like he takes over their minds, and they come and spout a whole bunch of. I can never understand. They talk so fast, but spout what their next mission is, or what they need to abort mission or something like that. And so they use the little kids to talk to them because it's not going to hurt them. If they once they're past adolescence, it's going to kill them.
Oh wow!
The process. So that's why they have to wait for these adults to die to take over their bodies because it will kill them anyway.
Oh wow!
So it's kind of like their mercy is waiting. They were going to die anyway, so it's just their job to make sure their loved ones don't realize they're not their loved ones anymore.
It's an interesting way to do a time travel story.
Exactly. Yeah, it hooked me from the beginning. I was like, I was hooked.
Right, and then so what you're saying is so they do this thing so they rather than just like making somebody take that on that could that they know is going to kill them and everything, they like wait until they're going to die,
right?
And that's when they do it.
Yes.
So that is very Canadian of them to do.
That's true. All right. Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
It's like yeah, we're gonna take over your body. We're gonna do this whole time, but we'll wait. We'll be merciful.
We'll wait till you're dead.
We're not unreasonable. Can we make you comfortable in the meantime? And
yeah, because it like counts down on the screen. In red is like 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
so
nice.
when it takes over,
counts up.
It counts up, and they're like, "I'm Traveler 4, 5, 6, 7."
Nice.
Blah blah blah, and they're like all in teams of 5. So there's all of these different teams. They're not all working together. They're like against each other or someone together, and yeah.
Didn't they meet? It's been because I saw the first 5 or 6 episodes like a long time ago, and I remember them meeting like a building or something, and then going from the building somewhere else.
Yeah, that's the first episode.
Yeah, okay.
The first few episodes because it's when McLaren dies, and they're like, because he was investigating the others 4, and they were already the Travelers, so they were like tracking him because they knew he's their leader.
I gotcha.
So they were tracking him to make sure he died when he was supposed to die and greet him because the team is supposed to be there to greet their new Traveler to kind of acclimate them to their new century.
It sounds
They're
cool.
like, welcome to the 21st. So, yeah, it's a really interesting concept. I'm really digging it.
Yeah.
So, but that's about it. I don't want to give away too much.
Right. No, I think it'd be better because I have a feeling there's a lot of... I've seen people saying that they've heard about this and a few people I talked to and they're like, oh, I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah.
So hopefully you've just turned on a bunch more people to watch it. Of course, it's too late because...
Well, it's still on Netflix.
Right, but it's a shame that...
I'm really bummed.
Yeah, it's always the way.
They just canceled that. Like last month, they canceled it.
That's part of the reason why I have such a hard time getting into TV shows and stuff because the ones that I like never last. They never last. 3 seasons seems to be like the max.
Right.
Every once in a while a show will go longer, but not many.
So like in this one, they have the boss. He's an FBI agent. Who's married, so he has to keep that. The other girl, like I said, she's like, her mind's not there. She's like an invalid. Okay. So she's like in hospice and all this stuff. She can't care for herself. She can't even speak. Another one, it turns out, is like, well, the timeline didn't say he was addicted to drugs. It's like, well, they said it was just a one-time use. Well, he's addicted to drugs. So now he has to wean himself off the drugs. But he keeps, like, they get kidnapped and he keeps, like, they shoot him back up. So he's got to start over again. And he gets addicted to other stuff. But, so he's constantly battling this. And then, like, the one girl has a baby. and an abusive ex that actually is the one that killed her. You find that in the first episode. So
I
I'm
was just
not
saying,
giving
you're
away too
blowing
much.
it. You're
I'm not giving
blowing
away
it.
too much. And like all this you find out in the first episode.
Yeah.
And then the other one is a high school teenager. So he's like, how do I go do all these missions when I'm supposed to be in high school? So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good point.
yeah, it's a whole bunch of all these people that are trying to maintain the old life while still completing their missions from the future.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, now I'm really done.
Interesting.
Interesting.
All right, want to move on? Well, the next one is somewhat easy because you and I had the same choice for number 3, and that was the novel. The novel.
The novel.
Not the television miniseries, but the novel 11/22/63 by Stephen King. Vito, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Okay, so you, my friend, was the person who told me about this book. I think you were on a different podcast talking about it.
Right.
So I immediately went to go buy this after I read my first James Rollins book.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. It was before because that's how I found out about James Rollins. I bought this book. I was in line at Barnes & Noble's and they had a James Rollins audiobook there. And I was like, ooh, that looks interesting. Sidetrack note. Yeah.
There you go.
And all I knew from that podcast I heard from you was this was a time travel story about the JFK assassination.
Right.
And it was like one of the best science fiction time travel stories you had ever read. I was like, okay, I got to read this now.
Yeah.
I bought this book and I think I read it within like 5 days.
Yeah, I
like
remember
that's
that.
all I
That's
did.
impressive. That's
Yeah.
a big freaking book,
It
guys.
was like 1,100 something pages.
Yeah.
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 Oh no, actually, this is 845.
Yeah. It's
that's a lot.
yeah. It's
These
not
are-
like The Stand. But
No,
it's-
no, but it's up there, man. Yeah, and I was just every night after work, at least 4 hours, I was reading this. I just could not put it down, man.
It sucks you in.
It does.
You know, the best books do, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I love the story, the setup, the dynamics, and the mechanism of the time travel was really well done. I thought
Mhm.
the characters are great. The love story is fucking incredible.
Right. And yeah, exactly. It's such a great love story because it's so unconventional.
Yeah,
There's so many likable characters in this book. You know, you'd think, I mean, by the time you get to the part when he gets to Jody, Texas, you've been through so much already. I mean, so much has already happened in that story. And by the time you get to that part, you're so already like, oh my God, like what? And then it's almost like a whole new story.
right.
It's almost like a new book, like
Yeah.
a second. That's the thing about 11/22/63. This could have been a series of books, like of shorter books, because of the way it breaks down. Because you've got the whole thing that happens in Maine, and then he goes on and he's living down south, and then there's his whole trek across the south of being in Florida and around in Louisiana, and there's a ton of shit that happens there.
Yeah,
And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't even, and you go through all of that before you even get to Jody, Texas, and the love story and all that doesn't even start till then.
Yeah, I'm not to the love story yet.
Wow. See, so that's the thing. You haven't even gotten to some of the best
Yeah.
stuff of this
the
book.
love
yet.
story is like really like the
And
best.
that's the
part.
part you're gonna probably like.
That's the part's gonna
Yeah.
put me in.
Yeah, with
Okay.
him and Sadie, right?
Yeah,
Sadie.
yeah,
with
yeah.
with him
It's
and
really,
Sadie.
it's really awesome.
It's great. And like the people that work there, the people that
At the high school.
at the high school, the librarian, God, I'm forgetting their names now. I can't believe that with as many times as I've read this damn book. And is it Bert or whatever, the old guy that ends up, one of the only guys that ends up knowing that he's actually a time traveler and stuff. Just such a good story. And then on top of all of that, you have the other story going on about what's his nuts, Oswald,
Yeah,
and everything, which they kind of tell is almost a separate story because it, the main character and Oswald don't really
interact
in it. He's at times he's kind of observing. At some point, much basically in like the fourth act, it starts to
interweave
interweave.
he confronts him and all that.
Right,
stuff.
and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's just such a well-told story. I mean, even people, I know people that are like, oh, I'm not a King fan, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you're not a King fan. Even if you are a King fan, it's great. It's one of his very, very best. But even if
it's my favorite King book.
Yeah.
You know, and I love a lot of King books, man.
It's hard to say if it's my favorite because it's
Really? Wow.
yeah, well, it's one of my favorite books of all time. But you know, I put it up against it's in such a different genre from Salem's Lot or something like that. Oh, it's hard to like compare the two, but to me, in terms of, because I've read quite a few, even going back to Wells and stuff like that over the years, I've read a lot of time travel related books. This is my favorite time travel book, big time. And I won't go on a long tangent, one for time, and B, because we're going to talk about it when we do the second episode follow-up for our Stephen King one that we did last year that we started this show with.
Yeah.
We always said we were going to do a part 2 where we talked about everything that came out from the early 90s to now. But let's just put it out there as a little bit of a spoiler that the miniseries will not be in mine or Vito's top 5 favorites.
Nope. Not honorable mentions.
Nope. It may make
Thanks,
my...
but no thanks.
It may.
It's probably going to be my thanks, but no thanks. And there have been some stinker adaptations of King stuff. Believe me, I'm so fucking angry about that because I was so excited when
you were super excited.
I was so excited when I found out they were making the miniseries, and I understand that they take liberties and they're going to change things around for television or film. They always do. They literally completely rewrote the book. There is so little similarity between the book and the show.
Yep.
They all they did was take some of the most basic features of the book and then said, let's just write a completely new story. And I want to punch somebody in the throat repeatedly for that. I'm so mad about that. But the book is just brilliant. It's creepy at times, especially all the stuff that happens in Maine. It's creepy at times. It's almost like a mystery, old school mystery detective novel in some ways. I love when it gets into stuff about using old school spy equipment.
Yeah.
And like there's just so much. This book has a lot to offer.
Sure does.
So, I mean, I really don't want to spoil it for people that haven't read it, but if you haven't read it, if you're into that kind of stuff, if you like good drama, if you even like good, true, badass romance with great twist endings and
badass
stuff.
romance. Those two words in the
romance.
same sentence.
Interesting.
This book, right
but it is
here.
badass romance because it's not like super schmaltzy. Like, I mean, it's got its moments, but I mean, the way it's done and it's so good. It's so good. Sadie is such a well-written character. You know, and sometimes male authors do not get it right. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Their interpretation of women when it comes to romance and stuff like that. And Sadie is an incredible character. So you have to finish reading this book.
I need to borrow the actual book is what I need to do.
Okay.
I only have the audio book, and I like I've said before on this podcast, I cannot stay focused on an audiobook. I can't do it.
And that being said, don't listen to her because the audiobook is my favorite audiobook of all time.
It is well done. I'll give you that. I have a prejudice against the audiobooks. I've tried 2 different ones, and I
Right.
cannot
know what
finish
you're
either
saying.
one.
I know what you're
Yeah.
saying. It's audiobooks just aren't. They're not for
They're
everybody.
just not me. They're not for me.
No,
I can't.
read the book. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I know you'll like this story. Once you read the whole thing, you're going to be like, oh.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Yeah, the Texas stuff especially. It's like, it's a whole different tone. So, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more we got to say.
No.
We're going to talk so much more about this
Yeah.
when we get to the Stephen King episodes. So,
Yeah.
all right, cool. Let's move along. Moving along before Megan bites one of us. Like the rabid little animal she is. Boy, oh boy. we're gonna move on and let's do. So we're moving on. That covered the number 3s. Let's do number 2.
So my number 2 was Back to the Future series
Right.
because I love them all. They're so good.
Even the first one, not just the sequels.
So this is going to be controversial.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Here we go.
But my order for the trilogy is 2, 3, then 1.
I knew
Well,
it.
that's not surprising.
I could have predicted that. How can you like 2 the best?
2 is the best.
No,
man.
it's not. It's
dude.
the least.
What?
It's Vito.
Dude, you
Of
did
course
not.
it is. He's speechless.
Everybody I know said, well, okay, maybe a couple don't, but most of the people I know say that Back to the Future 2 is a superior film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No, I don't agree with that at all.
Jeez, man.
I disagree. You want controversy? All right, here you go. At the time, let me preface. I've grown to like 2 more now. I like it now. Like I get it. Once I saw the third one and it was sandwiched in, then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. But at the time, because I loved the first one, loved it. Saw it when it premiered I saw it like the day it came out at the theater. Loved it. Then I saw 2, and I disliked it so much that I didn't go see 3 and waited to see 3 when it came out on video.
Wow.
That's how much I did not like 2 at the time. Yeah.
Jeez. But they're in the future and all the scenes, dude, the flying cars and all that.
Well, but see, I don't know.
Gray's Sports Almanac.
Yeah, I didn't like where it went with the story. It just kind of, I don't know. Biff and everything just really aggravated me. Like I said, seeing that now in context, being sort of the Empire Strikes Back of the Back to the Future stories, like it fitting in that context now I appreciate it much more, and everything. And yeah. And and at the time, looking back on it, I'm sort of like, why did I dislike it as much as I did? Like it wasn't, but I think it was just at the time I wanted something else. I don't know how to explain it. Loved 3. 3 was great, man.
Yeah, I saw 3 in the theater.
See, and that's the one
Yeah.
I didn't see in the theater. I saw that on video.
I vaguely remember seeing that movie at the end when the train comes and losing my mind when I was
Had to be about 7.
yeah, when that movie like 89, 90?
89, 90.
Yes, I was about 7 or 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking love that train, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Then the cartoon series came out shortly after that. I vaguely remember watching that as a kid.
I'm trying to think if I ever saw it. Did you ever see it?
I don't remember. I think I've only ever seen the first one, to be honest. If I've seen the others, I don't remember anything about them.
What?
What?
Holy
Just being
shit.
honest.
All right, then you obviously didn't watch the other ones because you would totally remember the other ones because it's 2 and 3 Back to the Future. What?
Right. You literally just hit us in the face with a giant wet mackerel. I did not know that.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what 2 and 3 are even about.
3 is the one when they go back to the
Wild
Wild West. Doc Brown
Mad
finds
Dog
love.
Buford.
Oh, you'd probably like it.
Yeah, there's another great love story.
Yeah. I think you'd actually really
Doc
like
and
that
Clara.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I know I don't. I've never seen that.
Oh, Doc falls in love. Oh, it's amazing. It's so
Yeah, well,
good.
I guess don't spoil it for her. I guess we can't talk that much about it.
Ah, Vito
well, we
spoiled
just
it.
said
I
it was a
can't watch
love
it now.
story.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's predictable in a way
Yeah,
once you
so.
start watching it. But
He telegraphs it pretty obviously.
yeah, yeah, getting into the whole chicken thing.
Yeah,
y'all chicken.
Yo, yellow.
Yeah, yellow, right? Yeah, yellow is like Michael J. Fox trigger
Mr.
word.
Eastwood. I love his Irish accent that he uses
Yeah.
in that one, dude. Oh man.
The third one's great. Yeah, and the second one's good. Yeah, the second one to me. But see, again, I still don't. I wouldn't want to just watch the second one in like a standalone fashion. I don't know. Maybe it's a generational thing. Maybe because I was
going to say, I think I need to watch the second one to be the tiebreaker here.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was talking to Gary a few months ago about Back to the Future. He goes, yeah, I fucking just watched it. He goes, man, I haven't seen Back to the Future 2 in probably 15 years. And I was like, dude, I just saw it like fucking 15 hours ago. How can you not watch that movie like every month?
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, to be fair, when was the last time I would have watched 2? Not that long ago. A few years ago. A few years ago I watched it. And I was like, oh yeah, I like this better now, But it's the one I've seen the least. I've probably only watched 2 now over the years, maybe 4 times or something like that.
Did you know they made a 2 and 3 though?
Yes.
Okay, because when I was working at Toys R Us, we had, when this I think was coming out or just came out, a woman picked it up when I was walking by. She goes, I didn't even know they made a second and third one. It's 2001 or 2, whatever it was. You don't know they made Back to the Future 2 and 3? Where the fuck have you been for the last 20 years or whatever, man? That's unacceptable. It's unexcusable. You can't not know that they made a 2 and 3 of Back to the Future, man.
That's funny.
Vito's pretty passionate about that.
Man, I used to rent 2 from the library pretty much on a weekly basis.
Really?
Yeah. Like, this was my movie as a fucking kid, man. Back to the Future 2. I couldn't wait till it was 2015 when I got a hoverboard and CD players in my hat and stuff. I was all about it.
But here's the thing, real quick. That makes perfect sense. Because, see, the difference between me and one of many differences between me and you in terms of tastes and interests and stuff is I love the past.
Yeah.
I love old time stuff. I love the 50s, like with the first movie. I love all that. I love the idea of traveling. I would love to be able to travel back to the past. To play the shitty games that suck ass. Every time I say that, I want to think of the angry video game nerd. Sorry, but I would love to go back in time to the past. That interests me. I'm not at all interested in what the future holds. I don't want to know. You're the total opposite. You could, other than maybe...
I do like some of the past stuff, but I wouldn't go back to the 50s. I'd go to
ancient Egypt or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, that's different. But it's like... But you're all about the future. Yeah, you always, you're well, we'll talk about it. You're T2 guy.
Yeah.
You're all about like future tech, sci-fi, futuristic shit, all that shit. And that was never really, I'm not saying I'm totally not interested in it, but that was never really my thing. But that's totally your thing. Mm-hmm. So that makes total sense why Back to the Future 2 would be like, whoa, like to you, especially as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
It just didn't, it wasn't what I would have hoped for. I don't know. I guess it's stupid. It's like in a way I would have preferred, well, which I did, because that's when they went back in time, even further back in time, for the third movie. I was like, oh, okay, this is great. And it was so well done and stuff. And even the effects and shit was cool.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I get it. I accept it.
Better.
But is there anything anybody else wants to say about Back to the Future? I mean...
Nope. I need to catch up, apparently.
Yeah. Did you like the first Back to the Future movie?
Yeah. It was good.
Wow.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
I think, I think everybody...
I think I need to rewatch it. It's been so long, and I seriously think I saw it maybe twice.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 1.5. I don't even know.
Jesus.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow, it just blows my mind that someone has not watched Back to the Future at least 15 times. Like
or at least 4 or 5. I think even like my grandma saw it more times than that, That's funny.
Yeah, if I have, I totally blocked it out of my memory. I don't have any recollection.
Wow, there was no room.
So did you hit your head on the porcelain in the bathroom and then you wiped your memory and then you came up with the flux capacitor? No. Never mind.
She obviously, see, it's from the movie.
I'm okay.
Wow.
I'm going to take your word for that one.
Okay, so everybody at home right now, I guarantee they're all like...
They're all face
oh my
God.
There's a bunch of slack-jawed people right now that are like, wow, okay. So I don't even think we need to... I would say, let's take a vote. No, we don't need to take a vote. So let's just say... We will be doing a future special episode on Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yes.
it deserves
We need
it.
to.
Yeah, for sure.
And in preparation for that, Megan, you're going to need to watch.
I'm gonna need my homework done.
Yeah. Holy moly. There was no room for it in your head with Quigley Down Under and all that. Quigley just kind of booted Doc Brown in the ass and was like, get out of
Yep.
here.
Yep, give me my country, my cowboy.
Yeah, ain't no room for you in here, buckaroo. But okay. Yeah. Anyway, but I mean, as we said, most people agreed with you that, I mean, that is like the
Quintessential.
time travel movie.
And I wanted a DeLorean car so bad when I was a kid, man. I still want one now,
Oh.
but
I never thought those cars were attractive.
Really?
You know, if you told me I could have one that could actually travel time, well,
Right.
yeah, fuck yeah. I'll drive a goddamn Yugo that can go back in time. And actually, Yugos drive so slowly and badly, they probably can take you back in time. So, but in any case, I say like they're still around. Like, I don't even think Yugos. I mean, I know they don't make them anymore, but I don't know.
you know,
how,
some hillbilly's got one somewhere that's
maybe
still
those
running.
things were so bad. They
Are those ones that exploded if you hit them?
Oh yeah,
okay.
yeah. They were bad. That's a total Hans Moleman
Yeah.
car.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. I like the one when he gets run off the road
Yeah.
and he goes, "Oh, I just made my last payment."
Yeah.
And then he goes down the hill and he stops just short of the tree and he goes, and then it blows up.
Oh man, dude, that show was so brilliant back in the day, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we still remember those references. It's
Oh,
been how many
yeah.
fucking years since it's been on?
And the side characters were the best.
Yeah, they were, dude.
I could give a shit about Bart and Homer, but like Hans Moleman and the fat German
Yeah.
kid.
Uder.
Yeah, good.
Oh, don't chase me, I'm full of chocolate.
Uder. Yeah, exactly. I also have a bag of Pokemon Big Choice. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about that sometime.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Megan and I both had the same number 2.
We certainly did. It was an amazing little movie.
It is an amazing
Little.
movie. Yeah, it's not a little movie.
Amazing, big.
big.
So big. It needs multiple time zones.
Mhm.
Yep, exactly. It's as big as my gut right now. So I'm drinking all this beer.
You got a beer gut.
Yep, pretty much. But it is, what movie is it from 2014? It is none other than.
Interstellar.
Yeah.
Woo.
And that movie is stellar.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking amazing.
Not corny at all. No, the movie's not corny, but I am.
It's all about corn.
Well, there is corn.
Well, that's true. There's more than corn
There is more than corn.
in Indiana.
Uh-huh.
At Indiana Beach, more than corn. We grew up.
Some Midwesters will get that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we grew up in the Midwest, and you'll know that. This movie was created by the people who collaborated on and created the movie Contact.
Mm.
They came up with this one, and what's his nuts? Christopher Nolan. His brother got involved in it, thought that Christopher would be perfect for the movie, which he was.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Because Christopher Nolan, man, that dude, he goes all out. I understood correctly. He actually even went back to school for a short time, just enough to try to learn about quantum physics and all this stuff. So that
I know they brought a lot of scientists, consultants, people on board to make sure that the science was as accurate as possible. For
Right.
This one, so.
Right. Yeah, he even got into there was even certain times that they debated over what things they could.
They wanted to make it visually appealing, but also kind of keep it grounded in
right.
science.
For example, one of the things that was they're nah, it's not gonna happen, but Nolan was but it's cool, so we'll leave it in. Was the ice clouds
Okay.
Yeah.
when
I
they're
remember
on that one planet and
Mhm.
they hit the ice clouds and shit, and the scientists were yeah, that wouldn't work that way. That wouldn't happen. It's yeah, but it's a fucking ice cloud. It looks cool.
Some Star Wars shit right there.
it basically
It's a different
is.
galaxy. You don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Different components to that.
Mhm. We don't have all the answers, folks.
Right?
Right.
Even you scientists out there.
Right. And there was criticism of it too, because things like the whole blight that goes on Earth with the
Dust.
dust
bowl.
storms, the
Yeah.
Dust Bowl, the whole thing with that, to that extent where it would kill off everything the way it did. They were like, for that to happen on this planet, that would take many, many, many years, not just over
70 years or
or
something.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
or less like that they were saying it did. They said it wouldn't happen to that degree. So, but whatever. I mean, in any case, point of the matter is the acting is incredible in this movie, right? I mean,
McConaughey was amazing.
Oh my God.
yeah.
He's amazing in anything. But
Well,
he's
not Dazed
really
and
good at this.
Confused, but this movie he is for sure.
Wait.
You're not gonna get away with that.
Wait.
So that scene where he's watching the tape of his daughter in
Like
this
that
movie.
one right there.
dude. Yeah.
I saw this movie in the theater by myself, and I swear, dude, I had tears running down my face like a fucking baby during that scene. It was so good, man. It was fucking powerful, dude.
Yeah,
So
very
good.
emotional.
Yeah.
It was.
You felt it.
It felt real.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about this movie. I get it. No, there's people that are at home that are gonna say like, dude, this movie felt real. Give me a fucking break. It's like not real, but it's like, but that's the whole point. When they can take something that's so beyond, like we can't do anything yet that's in this movie. There's so much that we just don't know. We couldn't do, but they took it and they made it so earth. They brought it down to earth, so to speak. Literally and figuratively. They made it so earthy. And it felt like realistic. People's attitudes, personalities, the way they reacted to things. So many times in these movies, there's reactions and things that happen that you go, a rational person wouldn't act like that. Why would? But, and me, I've talked so many other times about how I hate movie tropes and stuff. I hate when there's those real obvious misunderstandings, and they do it and people don't say the right fucking thing, even though any normal person would have enough common sense to just say this, and then it would solve the misunderstanding. But they can't do it in the movie because then we don't have a plot, and I hate that. But in this movie, even when there's like the whole thing with him and his daughter and having to split on the bad terms, like. It made sense, and it made sense at first, and then when you find out what happens later, and what everything meant, and all,
How it circles back.
it made perfect sense. Like it even made even more sense, and again, for me, that meant everything. It was so nice to have it where shit didn't go unsaid just for the sake of making everybody look really stupid and shallow just to further the plot. Like everything made sense.
No, I felt like everybody had a reason to be who they were and where they were.
Right.
At
Even
that
like
particular time.
even like Casey Affleck as the son, as her brother
Later on in life when he's a adult.
and showing how he's like, he's got his own personality flaws and issues and everything, but you understand why he's like that. They didn't just make him an unnecessary asshole for no reason. It's like all these things, they give you just enough, because he was obviously affected too by his father leaving. And, his one goal in life was to be a farmer, and look at how that's just like a hollow pursuit, and it's done nothing but bring misery, and he loses a child. All this stuff.
His others are all sick,
And you can see why you get really mad at him. You want to punch him in the mouth, but you like understand it. You're like, oh, I get why he's that way. Like I see, like I love that. Everybody in this felt so genuine. I love when they come back to the ship. And what's his name? The African American guy.
He's like
He's
27
been there for
years old.
27 years
Whatever,
old.
yeah.
And the way he acts it,
and
just the whole thing when he sees them, and that whole kind of like, I didn't think I was going to see you again.
I didn't
like
think you were coming back.
I thought I was just prepared to die alone at this. And like the way he acts it with like dignity, but you can tell he very subtly acts like somebody who has been living completely abandoned and alone for 27 years. He's not crazy, but he's affected.
Yeah.
It's like he anyway, we could go on. We could go on forever and ever
Yes.
talking about all the fine details, but I thought that for taking a subject like time travel and dealing with things like black holes and that
Other
kind of
worlds.
and that kind of physics, and taking something that we don't know dick about.
And the time travel in this movie is not based on a machine. It's like
Right.
actual natural forces that happen, you know? That's what's fucking cool about this.
Yeah.
We can time travel if we wanted to. Just got to go at the event horizon of a black hole or whatever and stay there for a little bit and then leave, and it's 300 years later or whatever, you know?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, that's the theory.
Potentially.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. That's what I'm saying. I like that they took some. I shouldn't say that we don't know what we're talking about, but we don't. It's not a proven theorem or whatever. It's not. We don't know for certain that this could happen. It's not. It's all based on that, but they made it seem
Plausible.
plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's like, you know, yeah. I don't know, but
Yeah, this movie, I was like in a curled up ball, tight ball on the edge of my seat, like biting my nails the entire fucking movie.
I
Yeah,
bet.
that's great.
I watched it.
I like holding my breath the entire time.
I watched it for the first time on a plane when we were
Oh my
traveling.
gosh.
And I mean, I was just squirming in my seat, you know,
You're like-
and I was just like, you know, and like antsy. And then, of course, sometimes even with your earbuds in, when you're on this damn jet, it's kind of gets loud at times, and you're like, shut up. Like, I'm trying to hear, what did they just say? What was
then that
what was
organ hit comes in, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But dude, the soundtrack in this movie,
Yes.
Hans Zimmer fucking nailed it, dude. It was fucking beautiful.
Well,
awesome.
It's Hans Zimmer. I mean, you just,
A lot of the visuals and editing by Chris was just awesome. There's a scene where after McConaughey has to say goodbye to his daughter, he's in his truck and you just see him crying, and then you hear the countdown of the ship, and they don't go through a whole montage of them getting on the ship. It's boom, we're in space,
right.
and then we're off. You know, it's really quickly paced, and I think it was just really well done with the editing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know when I talked to you before, I think just because I don't know if you think of it, your only complaint was the very end, because you were like,
I forgot.
well, because you were angry that they didn't show him actually going and meeting up. With,
Oh, and yeah, I'm going and rescuing the girl from the planet. Now
Yeah.
I guess he's on his way, but I
Yeah, they
didn't
show
get to
that
see
he's-
him actually like be to the rescue and pick her up. And
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
the way up, but they don't actually go back to the new planet. We don't know if it really is a good, viable planet. That guy could have been crazy too.
Maybe, but it looked like she was. It looked like she was planting something, right?
No, I
Or
don't
no?
think it was that she was playing. I think I took it. Maybe I misunderstood. I think she got there and the guy, because remember that was the planet that was supposed to be the guy that she
was,
was
Like
in love with.
with.
Yeah.
I think he was dead.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
if
maybe
I
she-
understood
okay.
correctly, that he had passed. They buried him. He was done. So that was the whole thing. Now she was alone.
Hmm.
He wasn't even there. You know what I mean? So now she was there alone, and that was why it was like, go to her, man. You know, like
Yeah.
she's all alone.
W-
Now.
Were you guys surprised by Matt Damon when he showed up?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know he was going to be in the movie.
Yeah, I
So when he
didn't
showed up, I was like,
either.
"Holy, wait, what the fuck?"
Well, I was surprised by. I'm like, good lord! It's like this is it. It just because I saw this later. I didn't see this when it was new, like I said. But I was just like, okay, we have what's her face, Jessica Chastain,
Mhm.
and we have Matt Damon. I'm like, The Martian.
Yeah.
Like, well, that gets confusing,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because they came out so close together, and it's very similar movies, you know.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, I love the book, The Martian, but when it comes to movies, I like the movie a lot, but Interstellar
Oh yeah, hands down.
is the winner.
Yeah.
That's the other audiobook I haven't finished and I've never seen the movie, so
See, the audiobook is way better than the movie.
The audiobook is fabulous.
It's hilarious. It's so funny. Ray Bray, awesome narrator. R.C. Bray is
Yeah.
awesome in that.
His delivery, that deadpan kind of dry, like, I am completely fucked. it's just at times like he goes from ends one chapter, it's like, I'm gonna science the shit out of this. I've got it figured out, blah 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 blah, and everything, and things are looking up, blah blah blah, and then it's like, chapter 4. It goes, well, I am completely fucked. It's like, I just remember listening to that and out loud laughing. Listening, it was so he sold that book so well.
Fuck yeah, he did, man.
Matt Damon did a good job on
He
that
did.
movie,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
but not no. So real quick, one last thing is just and one of the other things that I really loved about the movie was the robots.
Fuck yeah, those were like the coolest robots I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, Tars
Tars is kind of creepy at first, but he grew on me.
Yeah.
He's pretty fucking cool.
it was weird at first. It was like, oh yeah, because you never saw anything like that. The way
Right.
I
it
think,
moved.
they don't move like that. That's
No.
weird, but it was pretty
Yeah,
fucking
the
cool.
4-leg walk thing he was doing, and then when he was going in
Yeah.
that spiral,
That
to
was
save
pretty
that
cool.
dude. Yeah, that was awesome.
But I love the way it's acted.
Yeah.
I love that they made it like it wasn't like a normal computer.
I am
robot
Robbie
thing.
the robot.
Right. No, he talks like a normal person, and he's such like a smart ass and everything, and the whole thing. Yeah, you come to care about it like another
Yeah,
person.
really well done, man.
Awesome. So yeah, great movie, and the funny thing is it wasn't. This almost wasn't even in my top 5.
Really?
Yeah. I hadn't seen it in a while. I mean, I knew I loved it, but I was originally thinking, this might be an honorable mention, or maybe it'll be a 5. And then I watched it again in preparation for this, and I fell in love with it all over. I was like, oh fuck no. And then when I started making my list, I'm like, you know what? This fucking thing is number 2, man. Like,
Wow.
it's that good.
That's an upgrade.
I mean, beating out other things like Doctor Who and Final Countdown. Yeah, I mean, it's like I literally, tomorrow, if I walked in the house and Interstellar was on TV, I'd like, okay, I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
Like I don't get sick of it. So anyway, we're moving on. We're on the big ones.
Ooh.
Couple of big ones. So let's do yours. Let's talk about
mine.
your big one.
My big one.
Let's hear about Megan's big one. It's not what you're thinking, folks.
Yes,
She's all lady.
My big one is Star Trek: A Voyage Home.
Yep, Star Trek. Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
Star Trek. Oh. Yeah.
what's not to love about this movie? It's great. Got great comedy. They're all freaking hilarious in this movie.
Hello, computer.
Yeah.
Well, double demos on you then.
And he's in there swimming with the whales and stuff like that. He's like, what's he doing? I just love everything about this movie. Traveling back in time, the whole crew's back together. They steal a spaceship that's not even one of their own to go back in time to save everything.
Yeah.
It's just, everything's amazing about it. That's all I got to say.
Is it your favorite Star Trek movie?
Yes,
Wow.
without a doubt.
Have
Wow.
you seen First Contact?
I have, but I've seen, this is the one, you say Star Trek movies, this is the one I think about.
Yeah, see.
Fair enough.
This would be my go-to.
See, it's hard. Again, it's hard. This is where the line divides, because you guys are both big Next Gen fans and everything. But for Vito, the idea of saying the favorite Star Trek anything that isn't Next Gen.
It's absurd.
Exactly. So
We're just going to be at odds today, I guess.
No, because this was the first Star Trek movie I ever saw as a kid because I rented it from the library.
Yep.
And I hadn't seen any other Star Trek movies before this, and I loved this movie so fucking much. Basically because of the time travel, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The whole slinging around the sun, I was like, ooh, I bet that's a maneuver we're going to use in the future to travel through time. But
Not
no.
yet. Not
No.
yet.
Not yet, I guess, yeah.
Don't say never.
Well, again, just like with Interstellar, there's all these different theories about what can and can't work, and even the stuff that they sit there and say that could never work. Well, yeah, maybe. You don't know. Maybe there's some little X factor there that you just haven't thought about yet.
We just need that one little piece.
Exactly.
Slingshot us around the sun.
Yep.
Take us back in time to save the whales.
And meet the mom from Child's Play.
Oh, God, is that who that is?
Yep. And the mom from Seventh Heaven.
In 7th Heaven, yeah. That's where I knew her from.
Yeah.
7th Heaven.
She loves playing moms.
Apparently.
She's good at it.
She's got a mom look to
She
her.
does. She does have that mom look.
Now, wait a
She got some
minute.
mom jeans too sometimes in some movies.
So, Seventh Heaven, isn't that the show that's controversially got the guy that played the dad that got
Yes.
in
He's a
trouble?
pedophile, I think, right?
Yeah, I think, and let's just, before we start throwing that word around, I think that's not even totally exact. I don't know. I
It's
heard
not
something.
entirely accurate.
Yeah, I thought that it was something that he was talking to underage, but it wasn't. I don't know. I don't think it's like straight up like he's a pedophile. I don't. I just, before we start throwing those kind of things around, oh, that guy, I just want to be careful about that. But the guy that was accused of inappropriate things, allegedly accused of that kind of stuff. Okay, but wasn't that Decker from Star Trek: The Motion Picture?
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure he was in Star Trek too.
He was Decker from
as well.
Commander
Maybe.
Decker with him and Ilea from the motion picture. He becomes
Maybe.
one with V'ger and stuff. So then Commander Decker from the motion picture and then the chick from Voyage Home were husband and wife on Seventh Heaven.
Yes.
I never knew there was like that much of a Trek connection to.
I think they've said that everybody who works in Hollywood has been involved in a Star Trek something at some point in their career, right?
Right, but I mean, yeah, it's just funny that closely. Like I never. Wow. Okay. Sorry, not important at all, but it just.
Sidetrack.
Yeah, just interesting. I didn't know that. I love this movie. I liked it more when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a kid, I was at that age when it came out, 84 or whatever. I was like 11. And perfect movie for an 11-year-old.
Right.
I just loved it. I loved the humor on the bus with that punk rock guy and everything. I thought that was the funniest thing. And again, I loved the idea. I always was a fan, up to that point, I was always a fan of the Star Trek episodes where they went back in time and stuff. So, I liked it at the time. As I've gotten older, I don't care. Like I said earlier, I don't care for those episodes as much anymore. Yeah. They're okay. But, yeah, there's nothing for me. It's, it's Wrath of Khan, man. Wrath of Khan and First Contact, those movies. This would come in third for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I saw about 11 too, and it hooked me, and I just watched it over and over and over and over and over. It's probably the movie I've seen the most times ever.
Wow.
I love it that much.
Yeah, I was probably 7, 8, somewhere around there. I don't remember exactly when, but it was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good introduction into Trek.
Yeah.
For people, because I know people that aren't really big into Trek, but they're like, oh, I love that Voyage Home.
Yeah, and I remember if I had seen this movie first or Next Gen first.
Oh.
So I was because Next Gen came out in like 89. I think 88. Yeah, so I was like 6, 7 or whatever when that came out. So
right.
I might have watched this movie first and then got into Next Gen. I don't remember,
okay.
but
So original series did get you into
possibly.
Gen.
I'm not
Holy
confirming
shit.
that. I'm not confirming
Holy
that.
shit, people.
We're on to something here.
My memory's a little fuzzy. So.
Oh, Feldman's gonna love that one.
Way to backtrack.
Mike Feldman's gonna love that. He's gonna be like, oh. He's determined to get you into original series.
No, Mike Feldman's determined to get me into Deep Space Nine.
Ooh.
And Mike, I can't do it, buddy.
Oofa.
I try watching the first like 4 or 5 seasons of that season 1. I can't, man.
Try watching the first 5,000 seasons of that boring show. Where are they going this week? Nowhere.
No, we're going to Quark's bar. You guys were just there last week. Yeah, I know. We're going back again.
If I got to listen to Quark one more time. Oy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I suppose he gets better in season 6, but who's got time to sit through
I was
those
just
horrible
gonna say,
first 5 seasons?
You got to sit through 5 seasons.
I was going to say, we will in about 6 years.
Yeah, that's true.
At least we got 6
So
years.
Feldman, you got time, I guess. We'll see. Maybe.
Vito, with any luck, maybe we'll be dead by then. And we won't have to do it. Oh, Lord. But anyway, anything else you want to say about this movie? I mean, there's a lot to talk about.
There is, but it's just so amazing. I don't think I need to. I just think people need to go see it. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Says the girl who
We had to
hasn't
see Back to the Future 2 or 3.
That's totally different, and you fucking know it.
Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah, again, it's got time travel. It's got saving the future.
I was just going to say, I like
It's
the
got-
social commentary there, yeah.
It's got comedy. It's got a love story in there. It's
Action.
got them,
Action.
It's got action. It's got them cloaking in some park in California,
That was
and then
great.
like bringing down, like, come on down, bring this big old thing down into absolutely nothing. They let it disappear. That's so, but okay.
Yeah.
So
It's got one of my favorite tropes where a person from the past goes with the time travelers to the
to
future.
the future.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's been a dream of mine since I was a little kid.
And Kirk's like, here, come with us. She's like, nope, not coming with you. Screw you. You don't get the girl after all.
Yep.
I'm going over here to this other science stuff.
Yep.
So it's great.
Kirk's got plenty of women later to choose from, so I think it'll be all right.
Yeah.
You know.
That's true.
But someone from Child's Play, he should have gone for.
Right?
Wow. That's
That's the bar, man.
That's the bar right there. You're the mom from Child's Play?
Bro.
Oh, pants. Yeah. Oh, wait. You're the mom from Child's Play? Oh, pants got to come down. It's like,
That would be Vito.
It would be.
wow. Wow. All right.
So
I think she's still married to Kevin Yeager, though, from the special effects wizard from Nightmare on Elm Street and all that. So,
Oh, well,
yeah,
you
chances
know.
are slim.
That dude is, you can't
compete with that.
Special effects guy from Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like, bro, you can't
What do you
top
do?
that.
I play guitar in November's Doom. Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
I'll stick with this guy who's the effects guy from Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's a good point. That's valid. So,
I was going to say, if you were a chick, you'd do the same thing.
yeah.
There ain't
Let's
much
be
money.
real.
There ain't much money playing guitar in November's Doom, but there is much money in doing special effects for horror movies. So
Yep.
you get
We get paid being in November's Doom. You know what we earn? We earn tears and disappointment.
oh man.
So anyway, moving on.
Next, number one.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move on and let's do my number one, which is in this case, it is a little movie, because it's kind of a cult classic. I mean, it was not successful when it came out by any means, even though it has big name stars in it and
And a big hotel, big name hotel.
yeah, and everything. There's a hotel right there. Yeah. And it's a movie that was directed by Jeannot Schwartz.
Oh no.
And produced by Stephen Deutsch.
The
It was all
Irishman?
all big name people.
Mm.
This movie's called Somewhere in Time, and it was based or adapted by Richard Matheson,
Mm-hmm.
who had done a book in 1976 called Bid Time Return. And the whole premise of that was that when he was traveling at one point, he stayed at the Coronado Hotel in San Diego, and it felt old to him, which it was in more or less. And at one point, he came across a picture. Right, it was a picture of an old actress. Oh God, what was her name? Maud something.
Mm-hmm.
Like Maud Adams or something like that. It was an old late 19th century actress, and the picture just he didn't fall in love with it per se, but it captivated him. It was so captivating to him and everything, and it made him start thinking about what would it be like to meet that person and all that, and obviously at this point it had been almost 80 years or something like that, or 90 years later. So he started thinking about time travel. He had also been influenced by some books that had come out. There was a writer called Jack Finney who wrote a book called Time and Again that dealt with the concept of time travel using not a machine or not using science or anything like that, unlike most of the other stories we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, it's all about using your mind and the untapped powers of what your brain can actually do, all the things it can do, and hypnotizing your mind in a way that you would actually be able to physically manipulate time and space and travel time. So anyway, I love that concept right there. The book is cool. The book Bid Time Return is a good book. I love the movie. They changed things in the movie. But in the book, they make it so that the main character Richard finds out that he's dying from a brain tumor, and decides he's going to live out the rest of his days at this Coronado hotel. He sees this photograph of this late 19th century actress, Elise McKenna, becomes so obsessed with it that he starts investigating her, and he finds out that all this stuff about how she had this super controlling manager, and a lot of her life was kind of shrouded in mystery, and at one point she had some mystery affair that was only talked about in hushed tones or whatever. Oh, what are you doing?
Sorry, my bad.
And so she had this mystery affair, and he gets it in his head that it's him. He's going to go back in time, and he's going to become her lover and everything. That's why it was a mystery. And so he goes back in time, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. All this stuff happens. I don't want to spoil it for anybody because it's got a good twist, kind of sad twist ending. They rationalize it out in the book that all the time travel that happened was just in his head, and it was being affected by the brain tumor he had and everything. In the movie, no, he really does it. They make it more, which I like better. And I love the whole concept of it. I love the idea of, because again, it's another thing you go, well, you can't do that. That could never work. That could never happen.
We don't know that.
I would tend to agree and go, yeah, I think that's probably quite unlikely, but who knows? There's so much about the brain and everything, and so much about just our whole consciousness and living here on this planet that think about even what, well, we'll get into that later. But the point of I'll start going on and on about all the technicality of it. But the point of the matter is it's my favorite love story of all time. I love that in so many ways it's a classic love story, classic old timey love story, but then it's just got this interesting twist. And then there's like little things that they don't even spell out for you, but they kind of hint at and never gets explained. Like that, I believe my theory is that her manager was psychic. And there's little hints, there's little things, because she talks about, like, he always seems to know what's going to happen and everything. And he warned me you were going to come, and he did. He, like, warns her that, like, the man's going to come at some point in your life, and he's going to ruin it. He's going to change things for you and everything, and you're going to be afraid of him and all this stuff. And they kind of put it across that it's, he just told her that shit just so he could be controlling and everything. But when you find out what ends up actually happening, and you go, yeah, no, maybe he knew. And then just other things. Yeah, there's stuff. And then if you read some things in the book, because in the book, it's not the manager that tells her this. She actually consults some psychics who tell her. They took out the psychics in the movie, and they made a lot of those predictions come from the manager, but they never say in the movie he is a psychic. They leave that inconclusive. I don't know. I just dig shit like that. Yeah. I like those kind of little twists. Lastly, it's Christopher fucking Reeve, man. Dude, Christopher Reeve was just so awesome in this. And you're watching this and you're still kind of like, he's still kind of Superman. You know what I mean? Like, he's still got that. You realize that a lot of that charm and stuff, it's not Superman. It's Chris Reeve. Yeah. What were you going to say?
It would have to be Superman for him to get the girl like he did.
Well, okay.
He's kind of a doofus or something when he...
No, he just, instead of like going... I don't want to give too much away, but instead of just going back in time and like introducing himself and kind of like being suave and sophisticated and winning her over and stuff like that, he's like, "Will you go out with me? Will you go with me? 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 Go with me?"
Okay, but here's...
She's like, "Okay, I'll go with you."
No,
like,
it's...
I'm in love now. You're so handsome.
Okay, but there's an explanation for that, all right? So the thing is, the whole point is that part of it, and part of what helps him manipulate his mind, he has a hard time trying to do it at first. He really wants to go back in time. He learns about this novel that taught where another professor that used to be his old professor, coincidentally, had actually experimented with this and believed that he had succeeded a little bit, like he had done it and everything. And Richard becomes convinced, like, I got to do this. I can make this happen, but he's having a really hard time doing it. But after further investigation, again, I don't want to give away too much, but after further investigation, he starts to find out, like, I'll give away one little thing. He gets an idea and goes, well, I'm going to plan to go back in time to this time so that I could be there for when supposedly this thing happened and everything. And he knows that he stayed at this hotel. So he goes and he locates the old guest books where people had to write in and sign in that they checked in. And he was like, if I'm in the guest book, I was there. And he goes and looks in the guest book and he finds, oh, there's Elise. She signed in. And then he looks like a day later and sure fucking enough, there's his signature. And he's like, holy shit, I did it. So the thing is it's like that whole thing. Like once you know that you did it, once you know you can do it, then suddenly you can do it.
I see.
Does that make any, it's timey-wimey, man. It doesn't make sense.
It's kind of like you can never travel back farther than, or you can never go back farther than when a time machine was created or something like that. Like, is that weird?
Kind of. I mean, it's like this. Imagine if, like, say, like, just relating to something stupid. Like, say there's, like, some, like, style, like, you want to learn how to play, like, fucking John Petrucci, right? And you're like, God, it's just too hard. I don't have it in me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you were to travel like 10 years into the future and you saw yourself, you met yourself there and you saw that you were playing like fucking Petrucci, right? If you then came back in time, would it then be easier for you to learn how to play like John Petrucci because you know you could do it?
Probably. Or I would just go forward in time and just watch myself do it.
And be good with it. But if you never traveled back in time to do it, then you create this paradox,
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's great about this movie.
That's a lot of hours to put in, dude.
Well, if you have a time machine.
Not if you badger the person to death. You don't have to do the suave and sophisticated thing. Just badger to death and you get her.
Well, but the point is this. So the reason why, rationalizing it away, the reason why it was okay for him to be so kind of cocky and persistent is because he knew it was going to happen. He knew it. He didn't have to go, well, I don't know if she's even going to like me.
I don't need to woo her. I just need to annoy the shit out of her. I'm going to get her anyway. What does it matter?
Come on, man. He kind of woos her still. He's still charming enough about it. He's just very
pushy,
persistent.
Annoying, yeah.
Persistence of time, maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
Well, in any case, the point is he, it's a cool story. It's heartbreaking,
it is a good story.
And
that was my one complaint about it, but it's a good story.
Yeah. And it's a kind of movie that now it's become this big cult classic. They moved it from the Coronado Hotel to the Grand Hotel in Mackinac Island. And every year they have like a convention get together kind of thing where even when he was alive, Chris Reeve would go there.
Oh, nice.
And like it's really cool. And there's just other cool little things, like there's this watch, this stopwatch, this old-timey stopwatch that he gets at one point in modern times, and it's given to him by somebody from the olden times that he ends up giving the watch to back then when he goes back in time. So where did the watch come from? You know what I'm saying? He got it from this old-time person, but that person got it from him once he traveled back in time. So it's this paradox.
I gotcha.
And I just love shit like that. That's the shit about time travel stories that I love, because I love to sit there and debate and think about it and come up with theories and all that, And that's what I'm saying. It's so cool that it's just this little like low budget romance kind of, slightly schmaltzy story and everything. But then it's got all these cool little things in there like that you can just debate about, even if you're not into that kind of stuff. And Jane Seymour is fucking beautiful and a great actress. She's gorgeous and carries herself so proper and everything. But then she's got
Dr. Quinn?
Yes.
Yep.
Dude, She's awesome, and she carries herself. But then she's
Wait,
got
the Gerber baby?
the Gerber baby.
Well, she was promoting
Yeah,
the Gerber.
I know what you're
Okay.
talking about. Yeah, that one. Yeah, but anyway,
No, wait, wasn't no. That's the only two things I know her from.
she's funny and she's poised and
She's Dr. Quinn, man.
yeah, that came later.
I know it did. That's where I know her from, anyway.
Wedding Crashers too. She was great in that.
Was she in Wedding Crashers?
Never saw it.
That movie was really good.
It was really good.
Never saw Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, she was
Was
the
she
mom.
like the mom? Okay, that's right. Yeah,
where she was like going around having
yeah.
everybody fill her boobs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just wrong.
It was a little weird.
Elise McKenna does not do that. But yeah,
She
she's
does after Superman gets a hold of her and badges her
well,
to
I
death.
suppose. Well, that's not what ruins her. It's something else that ruins her, and you know it. But anyway,
She goes off the deep end after that.
yeah, well, understandably. But in any case, anyway, for people that if you've heard of this movie or maybe you haven't, even if you're like, I don't like romance movies or stuff, if you're into like well acted, dramatic kind of not science-y, but more, I don't know, what do you want to talk about? Like just more cerebral kind of sci-fi time travel kind of concepts and stuff. Yeah, give it a shot. Give it a shot. Yeah, this movie didn't get any promotion or anything. It came out in late 1980 when there was like a big writer's strike and everything going on in Hollywood. So they were like not promoting and like actors. Oh, and there was an actor's strike and all this stuff. So actors weren't allowed to go out and promote their movies because they were supposed to be on strike. And they were like, well, shit. Chris and Jan were like, we have this movie to promote. We can't go out and promote it. And it just died. And then what happened was a couple years later, it wound up on cable in the early days of cable. And all these people started, that's how I found out about it and my family found out about it. And they were like, this movie's amazing. I never even heard of it. And it's got these great actors, and it just like word of mouth and it just picked up. And now it's this big classic. It's like highly regarded,
Cool.
So cool movie. Yep. That was my number one. It's one of my top favorite films of all time. So there was no way that couldn't make my number one,
Yeah.
I mean, Interstellar is probably, in terms of being a true time travel kind of sci, like what you would expect, it's probably a better movie for that and everything. So I technically probably should have made something like that number one, but nope, sorry. It's got to be somewhere in time for me.
It's just like why mine was a number one. It's just
right. I've literally seen Somewhere in Time probably 300 times. Probably.
And that's just this timeline.
right.
Yeah. It's another one of those that I can quote. Like, I don't even have to watch it because I just can play it in my head.
Yeah.
I know it so much. I listen to the soundtrack's amazing. John Barry, great soundtrack. A lot of the stories based around a theme that Paganini did. Or not Paganini, Rachmaninoff. Sorry.
Rachmaninoff.
Yeah, Rachmaninoff. I like Rachmaninoff, but good 20th century composer. Not too many of those that I like, but he was one. But anyway, so let's move on to the last,
But not least.
the big one.
Big one, or in this case, the big two.
Yeah.
Although, so for me, it's obviously the Terminator series.
Right.
Terminator 2 being
I was just gonna say.
the major one out of them, obviously, because Salvation doesn't even deal with time travel, which I don't like Salvation that much. But yeah, so for me, T2 is my favorite movie of all time, which we've talked about on this show pretty much every time we've talked, I think. So
You squeeze it in there
Yeah, I
every
do.
chance you get.
Well, I mean, look, folks, real quick, let me interject. Here's the thing. T2 factors so much in everything that Vito does that we've even used the soundtrack like riffing in some of our songwriting and shit.
I've
Like-
used it in a couple bands, actually.
Right, exactly. Like everything, like Vito has like fucking harvested that crop, man, like many, many times. Like it T2 is the one.
It is, yeah. Yeah, but I've been obsessed with just robots from the future going back in time to kill someone that's going to upset them in the future like my whole life, dude. I just love that idea. The fact that you think you can go back and change the past by killing someone before they can take future actions against you, such an awesome concept. Whether or not that's how time travel would actually work or not, that's a different story. But it's a cool fucking idea.
Yeah. What would you say is T2 is your, obviously your favorite. What's your second favorite Terminator movie? Oh shit! We just stumped him.
Mm-hmm.
It's a toss up between Terminator 3 and Terminator Genesis.
Okay.
Yeah, I really love Genesis. I know.
I've heard. I was gonna say I haven't seen Genesis yet. I have it.
Basically, nobody likes that movie at all.
Right, and that's.
But
I basically bought it because of you, because otherwise everybody was like, that movie's no good. But then you're like, dude.
no, seriously, there's so many ideas that they come up with that are awesome, but they canceled that trilogy, so we're not going to get that, and they haven't released any extended universe novels, which means we're not going to know what happens.
That's aggravating.
That is very aggravating. So I made a promise to myself that I will create those extended universe novels at some point in my life.
There you go. That's where your life is.
Yeah. Once things slow down for us, that's my next step, is to make Terminator Extended Universe novels based on the Terminator Genesis timeline.
And then we can make it a movie.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll
Fuck
be
all you guys who don't want to make it. We'll make it.
Yeah, be a Geeking Poetic production.
Presents the Terminator Genesis future timelines.
Wow, can you imagine?
Oh.
I think you can.
Hey, I got one request. Before you get to that, can you at least put out the Outer Limits retrospective?
Yeah, I know, man.
That'll be a warm-up. You're just like, testing your chops in that one.
Yeah, that Outer Limits is way overdue.
It's out of limits.
Yeah,
it's reaching the limit.
Yeah, but we can go on and on about Terminator, and we talk about Terminator probably every episode, but I'm sure you guys love some of the Terminator series.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. The first one.
I know that's yours.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, T2, I've only seen 1, 2, and some of 3. I know that's crazy. Yeah. And let's mention, because we're talking about, let's mention the oft not mentioned nearly enough for how fucking good it was, the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That show was great. It's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Made for TV series. It was, how many seasons did it
2.
have?
Then kind of on a cliffhanger. Then they canceled it.
Of course they did. That was really good. I was stunned how good it was, because I kind of watch it like, so many times they try to adapt things like that into TV. It's like, no, this isn't going to live up. Mm-hmm. It was good, man.
Is it on Netflix or Hulu or
it was for a time.
It was, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
It might. I don't think it is on anymore.
I've got the first.
Amazon,
it might be.
Maybe?
Yeah, I've got the first 1 or 2 seasons on DVD. I know the first season digitally. I don't have that one on DVD, but the second one I do. But yeah, I definitely recommend checking that out. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I might have to.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah, it's real good. Yeah, because they said, well, I don't want to tell her too much, but there's a female what do you call it?
Terminator.
Yeah,
kind of like T3, but she's a different model.
Right.
She's not
and younger. And everything. It's cool.
And it's there's like this love story between her and John, where Sarah's like, you cannot get attached to her.
You can't do that.
But John's like falling in love with her. It's really fucking cool, man. Yeah.
But
I mean, it's Summer Glau, so you would totally fall in love with her.
Yeah, and she's a badass. Wow. It's a really good series. Yeah. What?
I'll have to check it out. But Vito might be a little upset with me again.
Oh boy.
Oh, I hope you're not.
I'm not even going to finish it.
I hope you're not going to say what I think you're going to say.
Just say it. Just say it. I got to see what happens.
It's just like Back to the Future. I know I've seen 1. I may have seen 2.
You may? You may have seen 2?
What is 2 about?
Megan.
Which one?
Vito just quit.
Megan. Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Is it when he shoots the guy and it goes and like he's like
with Robert Patrick as the cop and he's
He's a liquid metal?
Yes.
Whew. Okay, you have seen it.
Yes. Okay.
Good.
But
like
the fact that she had that, at least you've seen it. The fact that you know little to nothing about it, okay.
I don't think I've seen anything past that though.
A lot of people haven't, or if they do, they don't admit it. Because, but Terminator 3 is a different take on the series. There is a female Terminator that comes back, the Terminatrix.
Okay.
She's like a half like Arnold style and half liquid metal style. She's got the liquid metal over her, but she's still like a robot underneath. It's all metal, yeah. And her arm can change into like different weapons and stuff. And it's really, really good.
It's cool,
actually.
yeah. I need to watch that one again. I have all of them now. I'm waiting. I figured, well, once we get to our inevitable Terminator episode,
yes,
retrospective,
again, I'll have homework to do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna sit and watch all of them through and everything. But yeah, that's wow.
Sorry, Vito.
Okay,
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. I guess it's kind of like You know what that okay was that he just gave you? It's like when you're a little kid and you're trying to be nice and everything, and another kid that you like if you were two little kids and he liked you, you know, a little girl, and he's nice, and he had this hot dog that was just awesome, and he was so looking forward to eating this hot dog, and you came up and you accidentally knocked it out of his hand, and it just splattered on the ground.
Like, I'm sorry.
And you were like really nice and so like, I'm so sorry, Vito, and crying, and Vito was like, it's okay.
First of all, that wouldn't happen because I love hot dogs a lot. So I wouldn't be, it's okay. I'd be kind of pretty mad about it. But
Good to know.
Yeah, don't be kicking his hot dog like you kicked Jason's hamburger.
I warned him, stop picking at me.
Jason, what do you have to say about that? Because something tells me that you
I warned you and you know it.
Oh man. Did you ever hear that story when she kicked her brother's hamburger behind the couch?
Why would you do that?
He was being an asshole.
Bruce Lee style, man.
Yeah, I did. I was like, stop picking at me. He's like, what are you going to do? Whatever. I can't remember. We were like 8 or something. But it was a Grover burger. They are the most amazing burgers ever. Grover
Where is
Burger.
it in Oklahoma?
Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yep. In little rinky-dink Cleveland, Oklahoma. I think it burned down.
Oh,
Hopefully
no.
they moved somewhere else. I didn't burn it down.
There's some well done burgers.
But I was like, Jason, stop it. And he's like, being a typical little pain in the ass little brother. You know it. And I was like, stop it. And he was doing it. And I just like, whack, and I kicked him behind the couch.
Oh, no.
He was so pissed. I think I had to like share my burger with him.
Oh,
after that.
Serves you right.
Yeah. I guess I kind of deserved that, but he deserved it too, damn it.
Oh man.
You know you did.
I can see what the next family gathering is going to be like now.
We usually end up wrestling at family gatherings anyway, so
Yeah.
at least now we have something to wrestle about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, for me, I love T2. It's a great movie. Great movie. I'm partial to the first one because it was the first one I saw. It was the one I loved that movie. But in retrospect, yeah, if I had to rank them, well, I guess I shouldn't give too much away, but if I had to rank them, I'd probably put T2 as the first one.
Yeah.
But I got to watch the other ones again too. I mean, T2 is just one of those all-time blockbuster, you know, so many people put that up there as one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah.
Least of the last, 30 some odd years, so. And yeah, I mean, it's another one of those, to me, quintessential time travel stories. I mean, and it got into a lot of people's heads, the whole nuclear war aspect of it and that infamous playground scene and all that stuff. Dude,
Yeah.
That's like
that
pretty
affected
brutal.
tons of people.
It's so realistic.
I see tons of people that say like, I saw that when I was like 11, 12 years old, and ever since then now I have like dreams. I still have like dreams. So you know what, to those people, fuck you. Now you understand what I go through with the damn Exorcist.
I was just thinking that.
Man, even when you're like, it's just a movie, it's like, dude, no. Listen, bro. To quote our friend Dave, not cool, bro. Not cool, bro. Yeah. So like, yeah, that scene was affecting, and yeah, I think it made people think about the whole concept of that, and made people think more about the future, and I don't know. It's awesome.
So basically, in a nutshell, out of all our things, our choices, the future sucks. we're going to ruin the future, so we have to come back in time and fix it.
Well, I mean, the future of 2015 and Back to the Future was not very brutal. I like that a lot.
It wasn't
actually.
brutal, but it was a little. Well, no. Here's the problem with the future of 2015. Quite a bit of it ain't all that far off from where we're at right now, folks. Because don't they predict in there that Trump wins the presidency and all that kind of stuff? And there's something about Trump in there. I could have swore. Maybe it's not Trump. No. Maybe I'm thinking of The Simpsons.
You are thinking of
Yeah,
The
The
Simpsons.
The
Simpsons.
Simpsons where they predict. No, I know what it is. In Back to the Future 2, they predict that the Cubs finally win the World
Yeah,
Series.
that's right.
And it happened. Took an extra year.
Right, it was
2016.
Yeah.
So that it was a little bit off. But
I'm still waiting on Jaws 17. So I think it was 17 in the movie.
You're the only one.
Yeah,
Well, but here's the thing. Was it Jaws 17, right?
I think so.
Yeah. But here's the thing. So then, again, it's always just a little bit off because there may be no Jaws 17, but how many like Sharknado
That's
movies
true.
have we had?
Yeah,
So
shark
it
movies
just-
are really on the rise in the 2000s. So
Right. And so if you added a bunch of those up,
They would probably add up to 17, I'm sure.
at least.
Yeah, I think it was like 6 Sharknadoes at least. So.
Right. So
Plus
and then
the
how-
4
and then-
Jaws,
yeah.
that you're 10. Plus all the other awesome shark movies that are out there. You're well past 17 at that point. Raiders of the Lost Shark, that's got to put up to 47 at least. 47 meters below, it's a shark movie. The Shallows, that's a shark movie. We're going to do a shark movie podcast in the near future, I believe.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be pretty funny, actually. I know it's been talked about, but I think, we need to talk about that. Oh my God. Just having to research that one is going to be
Can't even
brutal.
imagine. We may have to put one that out just a little bit
Yeah,
so
I
it gives
think
us time
so.
to do
Yeah.
proper research on that one.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I mean, okay, I think that wraps that up. Just real quick, do we want to mention, let's try to kind of quickly go through some of our honorable mentions because we always like to talk about those.
Mm-hmm.
You guys want to run through some? Vito, why don't you start?
Okay, so I'll give you a couple and then just a quick summary of what the movie is. So, Sphere, really good movie. This is based off of
Sharon
Michael.
Stone,
Yes. Dustin
Samuel L.
Hoffman.
Jackson,
Oh, there
Dustin
you go.
Hoffman. Nice.
Yeah. So this was based Peter Coyote. This was based off a Michael Crichton book of the same name. This movie does not get a lot of love from people at all, but I happen to enjoy it. In fact, I watch this movie every night before I go to sleep and have for the past month. But getting
My
back on
God.
topic here. So they find out a spaceship is on the bottom of the ocean, and this team comes to investigate what's going on. And you quickly realize in the first 10, 15 minutes, it's not an alien spaceship. It's an American spaceship that went through a black hole
Oh.
and arrived at the bottom of the ocean, has been sitting there for the past 300 years. And it's brought something back with it. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I've got the Philadelphia Experiment 2. Even
Okay.
though I have Philadelphia Experiment 1, I cannot find my sequel on VHS. I don't know where the fuck it went.
No good. Probably fell into a black hole.
Probably did. But Philadelphia Experiment is supposedly a government top secret experiment that happened in the 40s where they sent a ship backwards in time accidentally. They were trying to create like a cloaking shield around it, but something went wrong. The second movie is about the this guy that sends back a stealth bomber to Nazi Germany to help them win the war by accident.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then America changes into a Nazi-controlled America. It's really fucking cool.
Cool.
Yeah, this one I wanted to check out before this, but I didn't get a chance
Right.
to.
Yeah,
Good
me
stuff.
too. Yeah.
Interstellar was on my honorable mentions. We talked about that already. The Timeless TV show, which is really cool.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think they just got canceled though, so
Yeah,
it's only
they
3
did.
seasons, but really, really awesome.
I only saw a little bit of that. It was one of those that because me and my impatience, I'm gonna go back now and I'm gonna watch it all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we're gonna be revisiting this topic anyway
Yeah.
because
have
there's
to.
so much. Especially, I think next time we're gonna focus more on TV
yeah.
because this time it was pretty much mostly movies with a couple of TV and book things thrown in. But yeah, we'll be revisiting this later.
Yeah, so definitely check out Timeless. And then Millennium, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
somewhere around here. I don't know where the DVD is.
It is right here.
So Larry's got the DVD.
Oh.
So what's cool about this one is it's in the future, like a post-apocalyptic future in like the year 3000 or something, and the world is totally fucking done for. People are dying. There's diseases left and right. So they have a time machine. They go back in time to plane crashes. Right before the plane crashes, they go back, take the people that were going to die in the crash and bring them to the future to repopulate the future.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's got Chris Christopherson.
Chris Christopherson. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's got a love story in there too. So
nice. Well, it's got Chris Christopherson.
of course,
man.
the guy's, I think he was a sex symbol back
He's
then,
a
wasn't he?
rugged lover. Country music.
He was a
musician.
country, yeah. And then last but not least is a book called Lightning by Dean Koontz, which is not a time travel book. Well, I don't want to give it away. It's a time travel book involving Nazis, and there is a love story, and I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to give away what it's actually about. But it's Lightning by Dean Koontz. Check it out. And that's all I got. So
Okay. What about you, Matt?
I did have Somewhere in Time on here. I know I was ragging on it, but I did enjoy it other than his badgering.
Okay.
The TV show Fringe, I know is kind of like more of interdimensional things, but they did have those time travelers in there as well. So I thought those were interesting. I love that show.
Yeah.
The show Early Edition.
Right.
fuck yeah.
Love that show with the newspaper every morning.
It's great.
The
Filmed in
cat that
Chicago.
came with it. Yeah, filmed in Chicago.
It sure was.
So I'm all ready for this TV one.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's,
I'm ready for it. I had the movie Land of the Lost, the new one
Land
from
of the Lost.
2009.
I've never seen it.
And again, I'm not big on Will Ferrell, but that movie cracked me the fuck up. That was a fun movie.
Okay.
I was younger in 1992. Forever Young with Mel Gibson. Fucking
sure.
love that
Yeah.
movie.
Okay.
that's like cryogenic freezing or something, right? Where he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And then I had to put Demolition Man in here solely for the purpose that the franchise wars, the only restaurant to survive was fucking amazing Taco Bell.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
had to put it in there.
Wow.
And there were a couple movies I wanted to check out. I don't know if you guys have seen them. Looper.
Still need to
Yeah,
check that
me
out.
too.
I
I
really
wanna
want to
see
see
that.
that. So if you guys know about it, let us know if it's any good to check out. The Butterfly Effect
Yeah.
That movie was great.
I've never
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah,
I
we saw
really
that in
wanna
the
see
theater.
that
That was
one.
really good.
and Lake House.
The Lake
Sounded
House.
interesting
that
as
one I've
well.
seen.
Oh, I don't know what
Yeah.
that is. No.
That's with Keanu. Was in that one?
Shoot, I can't remember at the moment.
Yeah. If it's the one I'm thinking of, it was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Another
those are
more
the ones I
romantic
didn't get to
kinda
check
one, but-
out, but maybe for our next round, even though we're not going to talk about movies.
No, I didn't
I'm
say
still
we
gonna
won't
watch 'em
talk
anyway.
about movies, but just, I have a feeling we're going to touch on a lot of TV stuff because there's a lot that I know we all want to watch or we haven't seen in years
Mhm.
or one of us has seen,
Yeah, because there's another one, True Calling, I really enjoyed.
I heard
With
of that
Elisha
one.
Dushku or
Yeah.
something like that.
Liza Dushku.
Yeah. I can't remember a lot about it, so I didn't make my list, but I remember really enjoying it when
Yeah.
it was on. So that's my list.
Nice.
mine's pretty short. One of them was it is. One is Early Edition, which we already just talked about and everything. That was a great show. It was a fan favorite. They tried to save it. Lasted like what I think 4 seasons,
Something like that. Yeah.
that.
That David Chandler, I think, is the actor's name.
Something like that.
He went on to
Yes.
do great things after that show.
Kyle Chandler.
Yeah, Kyle Chandler.
Yeah.
There you
Dude,
go, yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, they lasted from 96 to 2000 and
Oh, yeah.
stuff. It was great show, great concept. Another one that I loved was kind of a forgotten one. I think it only lasted like a season, maybe 2, from 1982 called Voyagers. And it starred John Eric Hexum. He was one of those. He was kind of like one of those Jan Michael Vincent types,
Okay.
that always had to have the three word names and stuff. He was
R.I.P. Jan. He
yeah.
just died.
Yeah,
Just-
exactly. To poor Jan Michael Vincent.
Airwolf, man. Fucking incredible show.
Early hero, old hero for guys like me and Vito. But John Eric Hexum was a manly man, but he plays he comes from a society of time travelers. And he ends up accidentally running into this young boy from, at the time, modern times. And ends up having to kind of get the boy involved in reluctantly get him involved in his whole mission. And the time traveler's mission is to make sure that time goes accordingly the way it's supposed to. Because there's other factors, there's other people, the other bad guys that are trying to mess with time. So it's kind of a time
cop thing? Yeah.
Kind of, but this was way before Time Cop. Similar to that. And then there's just cool twists. Like, whatever, man, it's spoiler and everything. You kind of come to find out that him meeting the young boy, which played by Mino Peluche that was in Amityville Horror. You come to find out that it was like fate. It was meant to be because it was always known like he becomes one of the important time travelers. John Eric Hexum's character didn't know that.
I see.
And everything. But it was just a cool show. It was one of those ones when I was like 9-10 years old that I was like it was on like Friday nights, perfect Friday night show for a 9-year-old kid. You know what I mean? Loved it. Loved the idea of a kid that wasn't too much older than me getting to travel around on these time adventures and shit. And then last but not least, the one that I was probably the most enthusiastic about was a TV show called 7 Days.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah. That show was so good, man. It's about like a secret branch of the of national security. They come up with this whole method of time travel that's based off of Roswell technology.
Yeah.
And the whole point of it, wait, I got the name here because I won't remember it. Sounds like a Meshuggah album. The Chronosphere.
Yeah.
It's like Chaosphere. And the whole point of it is that they could it was big enough and strong enough. There you go, 7 days right there. Big and strong enough to send one person back, and they could only go back 7 days. So they start using it as a means to try to rectify recent major disasters. That was the only thing they would use it for. It was like if there was some like a
assassination or explosion,
Oklahoma
or
City bombing or 9/11 or something like that, they would go back and try to like fix that and everything. It was really good. Yeah, it was just one of those shows that I thought was absolutely brilliant. And I love the fact that it's not only time travel, but then it's kind of connected to the whole Area 51.
Yeah,
Roswell.
That was a cool way to get around to that tech and stuff.
Right, exactly. Only lasted like 3 years. It was only around from
I think they're all on YouTube. If you guys don't have it on DVD or whatever, I think they have all the episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, they're online, and that was such an underrated show with people. It's kind of been forgotten.
When I first saw it, I thought it was kind of dumb, but then my buddy Donnie was like, "No, dude, you got to watch this. It's actually really good." And I started watching it again. I was like, "Yeah, this is fucking cool." Man.
No, I got sucked into it. It was one of those ones that got me like right away, and I loved it. So yeah, good show. Definitely worth checking out. And I think your brother mentioned that.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, because that was one that I asked you. You're like, I've never heard of that.
Never
blah, blah,
heard
blah.
of
And
it.
I was like, I know you probably watch it or heard it. She's like, nope, never heard of it. And then her brother's like, oh yeah, 7 days. And I'm like, see, fucking knew it.
Well, dude, she didn't even watch Back to the Future 2 or 3, so I mean...
I have a theory that Megan has probably seen and experienced so many things.
I just don't remember.
But
them.
at some point...
No, I know what happened.
No. At some point, she saw something
she
wasn't supposed to have
They
seen.
zapped me.
No. You're one of the travelers from Travelers. You're pretending to be Megan Guess. But you came back to a time that you didn't know that we're going to have this conversation. You knew that you had to know this stuff. You're playing Megan Guess right now. Because the real Megan Guess would have seen Back to the Future 2 and 3. That's my theory.
And on that note, we're going to leave it on a cliffhanger here, folks. Is she the real Megan, or is she a traveler? Or does she know things that she's not supposed to know, and they wiped it? I mean, kind of like Captain Marvel sort of thing. I mean, she could... Who knows? Who knows?
The Shadow knows.
The Fourth Doctor knows. Tom Baker knows. On that note, folks, it has been so much fun talking about this. I know it went long. It's long. We never go long. That never happens. We tried to keep it short, but we're long. And we're strong. And we're about to get a friction on. So, fellas, yeah, your girlfriend got the butt. Hell yeah, shake it. Shake that healthy butt. Baby got time travel. Boosh. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for checking out the podcast.
Let us know what you think in the comments, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Please click on the links in the description to follow us, and make sure you hit that subscribe button below.
And if you want to help us out, please check out our Patreon page as well.
We'll be back with more soon.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Holy shit, did we do it?
Yeah, we did it.